Still loading. Okay, we're online. Hi, everyone. Hello. Today, welcome. We have a very special show for you today. We have our special guest who was featured recently in a video by Introverted Smiles titled "Women Leaving Islam from Muslim Backgrounds," and she has her own channel and a few videos that I recommend looking at, and she's agreed to come on today and talk about her story. She left recently, and she had, well, I'm not going to tell her story for her anyway. I also have Sarah here.
Hi there.
And Germana, if you want to
Yeah, hi
introduce
guys.
yourself and say a few words. So yeah, we were just talking about, oh yeah, I have to do my disclaimer. I don't want any comments about how this is just a cultural thing and this is just an isolated incident that, you know, her family did, and this is not actually happening to thousands of women around the world, and even in Western countries, and about how everyone managed to misinterpret the wonderfully clear and concise Quran and Hadith. Like, I don't have time for that, because we know it's, oh, she dropped out. It's okay. So that was it. That's out of the way. Okay,
There she is.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
Let's go. So anyway, right before we were talking about Islamic schools, and not just Islamic schools, because me and Sarah were saying that Islamic schools, from our experience, they're not very good at reporting abuse,
in the homes
because
of,
legally, you know, in the United States, you any public servant, a teacher, or anyone working in a school working with children is legally required to report, even if they suspect abuse, even if they don't know for sure it's happening. Even suspected abuse, they are legally required to, and if they don't report it, just keeping quiet is a crime, and they just don't do it. And we were just talking about, like, why that might be the case, because they feel like they'll be called bigoted for not calling out Muslims, or, you know, anytime you accuse a Muslim of doing something and then if it turns out not true, then that they would feel like that's a thing on their part.
yeah.
It wouldn't even be an issue if it was like just a white person or whatever, but because it's a Muslim, they'll be like, in random selection or whatever. But
Yeah.
It's because they don't want
it
the
doesn't just
reaction
happen.
of the Muslim community. You know, it's a minority, I guess. So if anybody talks about it or does anything, I mean, especially with all of the things that have happened with, you know, Muslims
Yeah, now with
killing.
social media, like the type of
Yeah.
backlash they get, like when somebody takes your picture and then they just spread it all over the place with a chain letter, like, oh, this person is racist against us because they accused us of beating our daughter, and the CPS decided that we didn't do it. It's like, you know, they're legally required to report even if they have a suspicion. It doesn't matter if it turns out to be true or not. So, but
And
she
the
was
real
saying that
issue,
happens
yeah.
in normal schools too, not even just Islamic schools. That,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of times people will see it
Oh,
for signs of
sorry.
abuse.
Go ahead,
Go
speak.
ahead. Your turn.
Yeah, like when I was going to school in Texas, like a public school, and for a lot of like through I mean, I was being physically abused, and this was unmistakable. There was always bruises on me through elementary school all the way up until high school. And many counselors, they noticed, teachers noticed. I talked to them all. I told them it was my brother and my parents doing this to me. And my brother was the main person who abused me. And, you know, they always either chalked it up to, like, he's your brother, he's horsing around, or it's not really that bad, and maybe just talk to your parents, you know? I mean, they never did anything.
See,
So it's kind of
that's
disappointing.
see, like I already have a theory or an idea of for like the reason why they do that. It's because, like I said, originally, it's because they're afraid that if they say anything about anyone who happens to come from a Muslim background, that they're going to be called racists and bigots, and, oh, like, look at them, they're just targeting this hijabi girl, or like they see that they're different and blah blah blah. Because Muslim people have this huge power of making a big deal out of everything and making everyone feel bad for them. And especially with the problem, the biggest issue is people who don't know anything about Islam, they don't know anything about the culture, and they're so ready to defend it. And they're like, no, oh, it's like a good culture. They teach women equality, whatever, like everybody's equal. They treat women better than blah, 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 blah. So that's what I think the reason is, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
like, and even it's not even just with schools. The first time I ran away from being like, I was being beaten horribly, and I just jumped out of the car and ran off, right? And a police officer found me. He took me back home, and the entire time I was begging him, please, you cannot take me back home. My parents will hurt me. They're gonna hurt me. They're Muslim. Like,
Wow.
I don't believe in the same things that they do, and they're gonna hurt me. And he took me back, and he just talked to my mom, and he was like, I understand that it's a different culture and all that, and your daughter's different, but you have to be nice and all that. And just talked to my mom for basically 15 minutes and then left. And then after he left, my mom burned me with boiling water for leaving. I mean, like,
Sorry. But like there's
Americans are just too afraid to speak out about this. Like,
reason that there's certain reasons why some people don't like the police. And that's crazy.
Can you guys hear me?
That was in Texas, right? Well, the whole story is in Texas, right?
yeah,
I
the
don't know
whole
shit
story's
about
in
Texas,
Texas.
but geez, like I've
Can
heard
you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Cool.
But,
I was gonna say, like, she actually burned you with boiling water because you, I mean,
ran away. Like,
ran away.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
guys.
it was
Somebody interrupted me, so that's why I didn't hear.
I heard him.
Yeah.
Before you muted. I was gonna say something else too about you said that your brother would abuse you too, and the thing is that people don't realize that it's not just the parents. A lot of times the parents will let the brother or other male relatives abuse the women or daughter or girls because there is an ingrained idea that men hold superiority over women in Islam. Like, it's just undeniable. It's in the Quran, it's in the Hadith, it's in the Surah, it's all over. It's just ingrained. So, a man has the right in Islam, and a brother has the right, even if it's his older sister, he has the right to like dominate her and tell her what to do. And it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like if the father dies, then the son becomes the man of the house.
If the father just leaves the town, like just goes outside of, the same city, like he's the man of the house and he controls everything. And
yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, like, I have a friend that recently told me, I mean, she's the oldest of her siblings, okay? She's the eldest. So her younger brother, who happens to be 17, is like constantly causing trouble. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. He's allowed to go out, do whatever, blah, blah. And if she says anything, even though she's working hard and she cleans and she does everything, her mom and her dad will always defend him and say, well, he's a boy, he can do this, he can do that. I mean, he's trying to fight with them. I feel like he doesn't like the fact that she's the eldest and that she has a certain level of respect, and he feels like technically, like, she's a woman, she's a girl, I'm the man, I'm the only boy, and especially because they raised him that way. They raise all these boys like this, raising them thinking that they're gonna be better. They're the ones that are the future of their family. They're gonna be
they have more rights, they have more opportunities. Yeah. But anyway, let's try. Like, I know it's hard for you, Sarah, but let's try to give her the mic and stuff, and if she has to go, we can like continue after, because she has a limited amount of time to be on. But I really want her to tell her story and stuff.
On my brother, I'd like to add to what you were saying about how men are given a lot of power in Islam. It's like, I can tell you some horrible things that my brother did. I mean, he would come into my room with a knife at night and wake me up and tell me that he was such a good brother because he didn't kill me that night, He would smother me with pillows in front of my parents. He once tried to kill me in front of my mom, and she just watched. And he's actually 2 years older than me. So that's like, I think that's the craziest part, and what made a lot of people like, I think that maybe that also contributed to why it wasn't reported at school, because they thought, like, he's only 2 years older than you, how could he do that? But I mean, other
Oh,
things that he's gotten away with, because I would say like men are viewed as superior in Islam, is like he's gotten away with murder. He murdered somebody when he was in college. He let this dude die. Um, and if you look up the Texas State, uh, it's one of their fraternities. One of the students died, and my brother was the one who encouraged him to keep drinking, and so that he
Oh,
had a heart condition and he complained about it. Yeah, and he died
that's
because my brother.
interesting. I mean, isn't he so Islamic? Or I mean, if they
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
right.
privileges of Islam,
Alcohol is
you know,
halal all of a sudden.
they love the privileges that they get because of Islam, but they also like shun anything that they don't like. So it's like you're drinking though, and you're encouraging
yeah,
someone else to commit a sin to the point where they
yeah.
died.
That's he thought he was
So I
such a good
remember.
Muslim, and my parents always stood behind him, saying that he was such a good Muslim. But the entire time, when he was in college, he was dealing drugs. I mean, he went out and killed like somebody. I mean, the crazy shit that he was doing that he could just get away with. And yet, for me, my biggest punishments, the biggest beatings that I ever received were because of either I dated somebody, I talked to somebody that I wasn't supposed to, or I told them that I wasn't Muslim, or etc. Something that just didn't go along with Islam, the ideologies. And it's just, I mean, I don't know, that kind of closed-mindedness is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. You
But yeah,
mentioned earlier that you didn't know how long you had. Is that a sensitive subject, or do you mind answering a question about that?
I don't mind answering a question about that.
Okay, because you said that you were being stalked, and my question is obviously like, I know from personal experience how kind of dismissive the police and certain authorities can be, but have you like consulted with someone about protection or something, or if they could do anything about relocating? Because I was going to say there's also the ex-Muslims of North America. I don't know much about them, but I know that there are some organizations that might like help with relocating and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay. On, I have to think for just 1 second, I'm sorry. Um, on getting protection from my parents, because I am scared that there's going to be like, I'm scared that I'm like not going to be alive for much longer. I don't know what's going to happen. But I did try to get a protective order against them. It's just the way that they talk. I don't know. I don't know if this is other Muslims too, but you know how people can insinuate something without making it seem threatening, and you know exactly what they're saying, but it sounds
Absolutely.
like to anybody else, they would read that and they think that's completely normal. I don't see what's wrong with that. But you know the implication.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Like
yeah,
because it's
because of that,
for
I
people
wasn't.
who don't know abusive personality types and who haven't had interactions with them, they're not able to easily tell those types of signs. But because me and Sarah are perceptive to those types of things, and certain other people who've had experience with them, then we would know. And it's really a shame that like police and people in authority are not trained to tell these things.
Yeah. Like when I went to I went to a lawyer actually and tried to get a protective order against my father. And I mean I had literally hundreds of emails that he had sent to me over the span of maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I left, of him either saying like you have to come home, all this stuff, like your mother is like sick and all this shit, like all this, like
That's
I don't
always the
know,
one that tries to
manipulative
Emotional
stuff to just get me
manipulation.
manipulation, yeah, or
I mean,
emotional.
yeah,
same
and
thing. I
like
mean,
I
anytime I've ever tried to do anything, my mom would say, "I'm gonna have a heart attack. You're killing me. You're doing this." So I felt like I
oh
had
my
to do
God.
everything she said. Yeah.
My mom
Yeah,
said the same exact thing too. She said that she, like, if I left, she was gonna have a heart attack and die, and it would be my fault. Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
wow.
like it's such a heavy burden because you're like, I love my mom, but like
Do you
I
remember
want to
that
do this
Indian
thing.
actress? She moved to the UK, and then she got this message that her dad was dying, so she went back to visit him, and then it was a
And then they
trick. It was
murdered
a
her.
lie. Yeah, he wasn't sick at all, and she like was worried, and she went back to the country to see to see him, and they killed her.
I mean,
That was
he
the only
held
way
her
she was
down
gonna go
while
back.
his nephew killed her. That's crazy. That's why you can't trust this stuff.
It's
They're
like
always gonna say
it's
they're
like
sick and stuff.
you don't even know if it's true or not, but you can't even take the chance.
It's like you can't gamble, really, because it's gambling with your life if you decide to go back. I mean, so many women have gone back to their homes and then got murdered. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean, what?
Yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
honestly be homeless because I'm
right.
technically homeless right
That's
now.
that's a good
Honestly, I'd
option.
rather be homeless than go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Do you,
I highly
Sarah, do you
recommend
remember
you
the
never
name?
go back.
Sorry. Do you remember the name of that special you sent to me on YouTube? And it was like that the guy, he married the white lady, and they had a bunch of daughters. He had the second wife is the one that helped him kill
Oh,
them.
are you talking? Oh,
It was like the House of something, started with an S.
I think it was Sharia or no, it's
No,
not Sharia.
Sharia. So
No, but
I can't
it's like
remember it.
Shahira, like something like that. Like I'll look it up
Yeah,
and
look for
find
it
it.
because that's um it was crazy. I don't remember where they were. I think it was Canada, right? I mean, they had three
Yes, it was
daughters,
Canada.
and the people in the school saw the signs of abuse. They even reported it, and the protection agency or whatever went to the house, looked around. They were like, they're fine, whatever. They left, and then it
It's
was
called
just over.
Shafia.
Shafia, yeah, okay, you were
It's a
close.
Shafia family murders. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they have a thing. If you look up the House of Shafia, it's really interesting. I recommend anyone watch it. And basically, the first wife was the mom, right? No, no, I'm getting confused.
No. Okay, so this is what happened. I remember it.
Anyway, the second one,
So
so I
the
tried
first
to kill
wife,
them.
he got married to her. I think it was, either it was like Afghanistan or something. I think they're from Afghanistan, and he got married to this woman when she was very very young, and she didn't have any children with him. So then he went to
Yeah.
Canada, and then he took another wife, and then he went back for the other one, and he said that she's not his wife, like she's his sister or something, and she's disabled or something. So he brought her.
Yeah.
So he basically made her a maid for all of
You know what?
for
Yeah.
the
Sorry.
yeah.
The one where the father took his two daughters and shot them in the back of the car. I got those two stories confused.
Yes,
There's
that's
just too many
the
freaking honor killings. I can't keep track.
yeah. Those stories are about like a half Egyptian, half white like family. I guess like their mom was white and their dad was Egyptian, and their names are Amina and Sarah. And they died.
Wow.
I mean, they were murdered in the taxi when, like, it wasn't that the mom was helping him to kill them, but she persuaded
No,
them to go
because
back.
the thing that yeah, because she had taken them and she left for a long time, for a period of at least, like, it was a few months at least, and he convinced her to come back and bring the girls back or something. That was their chance. They could
Yeah,
have
that was their
like
chance
had a
to.
normal life.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But
when
when
the
they went
mom
back,
brought
I
them
mean, he
back, that
promised
was
them.
it. Like,
See,
of
he did the
course,
same
they
thing.
always
Like
do. Abusers always do this. Oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. Like this and that. But yeah, he killed them.
and it was
So
actually his son that helped him. I think his son's name was Islam or something, and yeah, like Islam. I think that's what it was. Islam, Sarah, and Amina. So Islam, he helped murder them. Like he helped cover his father's tracks, and then his father went to Egypt and was never convicted of the crime because he's not even in the United States anymore. I think
yeah.
it was in Texas too. Actually, it was in
Oh
Texas.
yeah. Isn't
Yeah.
that the one where?
Fuck.
Damn. Isn't that the one where you said you were watching the special about it on TV, and your dad? I mean, he said, I could kill you and then go back to my country.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like when I first watched it, that's when I realized I could have the same fate. I could face the same thing because he was so threatening. I mean, one time I was with him in the car, and I think I see what had happened was I wanted to go, and I think I asked you to take me with you to the Eid carnival at the mosque, and like he didn't allow me, and my brothers didn't want to drive me, so I
Oh
went with
yeah,
you. And then
yeah.
when I stayed a little bit longer because you could have it took me home, but I was so
I know.
happy to be there. So
Yeah,
then
but anyway, when he got you
so
back,
then
I
yeah,
mean,
when
he
he got me
called my
back.
mom's phone and he was like, you know, stop lying to me. She's not at the masjid. Tell me where she is right now, or I'll call the cops and have them come to your house. Like he was like,
Yeah.
I'm amazed that she didn't recognize what what type of person she is. I mean, this happens all the time, and other their parents, like if the child is hanging out with another kid and the other parents like see these signs and they just top it
Ignore
off like
them.
it's totally normal, like, hey, they're just worried about their kids. No, great. Like,
I mean,
but
and then the worst
anyway,
part
we're
is
getting
that,
a little off track. I
yeah,
just
like, wait,
want to go
let me
back.
finish the thing.
Go
Let me
ahead.
finish it.
Hurry up.
So when I was with him in the car, then he started saying, he started hitting me and stuff like that, and then he told me that he could go back to his country, he could kill me right now and go back to his country, and he has no problem doing that. So then I said, okay, let's do it. Like, I was at that point, it was like years and years of like abuse, so I was like, I was gonna jump out the car at that point. Anyways, go on.
Jeez. All right, back on topic. Sorry, we got a little off track talking about like death threats. Well, it's not off track, but I just wanted to talk about, let her have the platform. So, aside from, okay, so the parents, I mean, sorry, yeah, the parents, the adults in your life, the teachers in your life, everyone saw what was going on and didn't do anything. And you said you tried running away once when you were like little. Did you try running away again, like later on, like multiple times?
Yes, I actually ran away maybe I want to say 5 times before the fifth time was finally successful. Um, but yeah. I mean, honestly, I since high school, since high school, the entire time, growing up there, like living in that stupid house, that crazy fucking house. I mean, I always wanted to leave, or I would hope that, I would die, or I'd try to overdose a lot, just to try and escape and get out of that,
On like regular pills?
Yeah, like painkillers, shit like that, anything that I could find, and I never died, but obviously,
Yeah,
so
yeah, obviously.
didn't
But you
work.
were but you were suicidal. That was another thing
And
that
we're
Sarah and I
happy
wanted
that
to
you're
talk
not dead.
about.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and we want you to stay alive for as long as possible.
And enjoy
Um,
your life to the fullest.
Of course,
because
yeah.
this is also a little off topic, but I was telling Sarah that I wanted to also talk about depression, both depression while you're Muslim and after leaving Islam, because
Oh,
people
yeah.
on both sides seem to have this misconception. See, Muslims are like, ex-Muslims are depressed because they left Allah and they feel a gaping hole in their heart. And then ex-Muslims are like, no, like, I mean, some of them are, but Muslims are depressed, and a lot of Muslim women and girls are depressed and don't even know it, or they think it's normal, or not that they
Hmm.
think it's normal, but they think that their life is normal, their behavior is normal, and they don't realize how abnormal it is. They might think like, oh, that was a thing, it sucked. Everyone's life has up and downs and all this stuff. But I think talking about this right now, like I would never say that like I've been abused. I wouldn't say that directly, like systematically, like throughout my life, like you guys. But certain things that you say, it's like, geez, that reminds me of this time this happened. That rings a bell about this thing. So it's like there are these little things that do happen in a household, in a Muslim household, because I don't have experience in other households, but that maybe you said in your video that you were getting abused and your female classmates were getting abused, and you guys didn't even realize, and you thought it was normal because everyone was just getting abused collectively.
Hmm.
So it's like maybe there are certain things that people think is normal,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
because I mean I don't know if so much anymore, but I know that definitely in the 80s and 90s and farther back, um, there was this kind of thing battling between abuse and what's the difference between abuse and discipline. And they would kind of argue like, I'm not abusing, it's just discipline, like stay out of my parenting thing. So so the authorities have to decide, like, is this abuse or just regular discipline or whatever. And that's why me and Sarah are both strongly against hitting your kids like in any way for any reason, because it can spiral out of control. And it's just, there's better ways of dealing with children, obviously.
I
um
I honestly think the first time that you hit your kid, that's when you kind of lose something. You lose something that you'll never be able to get back. Like you've instilled fear in them now, you know? And I mean, that was something that my parents always did. I mean, they always, whenever they beat me, I mean, I would ask them, like, why did you do that? And so they're like, so you're scared to do this again. And it's normally stuff that it's like normal kids do, you know, it's nothing to be
Yeah,
beaten up
it's
over.
not like you're
I feel
lighting
you. I
cars
feel
on
you on a
fire
spiritual level.
and doing like really, really bad juvenile delinquent things. It's things that if your brother did the same exact thing, he wouldn't get in trouble for. So
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's just crazy, like the double standards for women, what we can and cannot do, what my brother can get away with, what he can still get away with. I mean, even after all of this, he's still living with my parents and he has their full financial support. They're paying off his college debts because he dropped out. I mean, they're literally bending over backwards for him, but they would never do that for me, you know?
Oh my God,
Just
same
because
here.
I'm not Muslim.
100%.
I mean,
It's like,
they don't even know I'm not Muslim, but all of my life, I've always seen my brother like run away from school, get suspended, get expelled. Go, oh my God, they do anything to take him to school. And for me, it's like it was a struggle just for them to drive me to the Islamic school, like every
mhm.
day, and I would miss so many days, and I would be, and it was crazy. I felt like they didn't care about me. They just wanted to like marry me off, and that's it. Like once you turn 18, like they didn't care. Like, and my
Yeah.
brother did, my both of my brothers, I have two of them older than me. Both of them had, I mean, they did a lot of shit. They used to steal, they used to, I mean, stole money, like went to jail, did a lot of excuse me, a lot of stuff. And yet
Mhm.
they still have my mom's support 100%, and even my stepdad too, he supports them 100%. And for me it's like, oh, you're whatever. I mean, they also underestimate my intelligence. It's always like my brothers are smarter, they're better, they're whatever. Anyways, I'm done talking, you guys talk.
No, I
At least
completely agree with that. Like that's how it was with my parents too. Like I totally agree with that. Everything, pretty much everything that my brother did, everything that he said, I mean, they were just like, you're amazing. Like you're the most perfect son ever. And it's like you can never do anything wrong. And you know, it was never applied to me. It's like their love with me had terms and conditions, and you know, a lot of the terms and conditions I just couldn't fulfill because like that's not me. That's not who I am, you know? You shouldn't have these expectations for your child before they're even born. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know, guys. It's fucked up. Sorry, am I allowed to like cuss? Is that
yeah,
sorry? I've been
there's no rating on here. It's all good.
Cuss,
okay.
feel free, say whatever you want. We cuss a
Yeah.
lot.
So yeah, I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Boys are definitely allowed to do to get away with, you know, a lot of stuff. I mean, there was this lady I was hanging out with. She was from Morocco, and she said that. I mean, in Morocco, she was like, "Oh, my brother has girlfriends he can date or whatever." And I said to my mom, like, "Hey, you know, how come he's allowed to date? Not saying I want to date, but you know, he's supposed to get married." And she's like, and you know, her mom was like, you know, he's a boy, and she was like, yeah, but it doesn't matter if he's a boy, like that's still haram. Like she's trying to tell her whatever or whatever. So I mean, they let them do things that are even supposed to be. Oh geez, I don't even know if I'm still on. Um, my computer's frozen.
Hello, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you're still on. I can hear you.
Oh, it's just that my computer was frozen. Okay, but it's like, so Muslim parents will even let their sons do things that they know are not even, you know, technically allowed in Islam, but like if the daughter does one like remotely.
Hello, hello.
Now we're losing you.
I mean,
Yeah.
my brought home a girl that he got pregnant. He was like 20 something and she was 15.
Oh my
Mom was
God,
like,
what
hey, you
the?
know, bring her in the house, like let me meet her, you know, I want to get to know her and talk. And she's like, you know, I'm being understanding because I know that you're a growing like guy and you have needs and all this stuff. Okay, that's nice. So when I was 19, like I was already legally an adult, and you know, I didn't even like I didn't even do the thing. Like I still had my V card. Like all I did was kiss this guy one time and it was like the end of the world. She took me to New York because I wasn't even living in New York. She like sent me to New York and blindsided me, and like my dad showed up and he was like, we need to have a talk and all this stuff, and he was acting like I fucked the guy. And I'm like, it's not that serious. But you know, obviously at the time, like I was all submissive and like, I'm so sorry, it'll never happen again. Like, but obviously now, like if I could go back in time, I would have just been like told him to fuck off and like, I'm not even gonna listen to you because you're only my father when it's convenient for you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see you for years, you don't talk to me, but you know, when I do something you don't approve of or that you think is going to ruin your reputation, all of a sudden, you know, you pop up and want to have a long, give me a lecture or whatever. I mean, thankfully he wasn't the violent type, my actual biological father. So I wasn't worried about that and stuff. And I always tried to
Mm-hmm.
be like this perfect little Muslim daughter and did everything I could to. I mean, that was the thing. I wasn't like wasn't trying to be a rebel, and if because I genuinely was like wanted to be Muslim. I genuinely believed that stuff. It wasn't like I was even having doubts at a younger age. It was only like older when I had doubts. So it wasn't like I was like trying to announce to them, hey, I'm not Muslim anymore. And something big happened that made me not want to tell them that. Like I learned because my older sister had did that one day. Like she was in college and she said, um, she came home one day and she was like, I'm not, I don't think I want to be Muslim anymore. And like the fight and the thing, everything that happened after that, like I learned from her, from her example. I was like, okay, in the back of my mind, if that ever happens, I'm not gonna announce it. Like I'm not gonna. So because my mom, like basically forced her to drop out of college and was like, you know, college is making you a kafir. So she like didn't let her go to school, and my sister had to go to she ended up in the psych ward for a few.
Oh God,
Anyway,
that's horrible. I'm so sorry.
yeah. Yeah, it
How
was more
I
than
mean,
that. She like took her credit cards because she was already like 19 at that time. She like took her ID and her credit cards, and the cops came to the house. It was crazy.
I mean, how crazy is that your older brother, he brought a 15-year-old, a pregnant 15-year-old, and she was cool with that, but when your sister was like, I don't think I like Islam anymore, she's like, okay, let me trap you in the house, take all of your stuff, take your phone, whatever, and not let you go study. And then,
Yeah, I mean, she basically forced her to drop out of college,
it's
because she missed the classes for the rest of the semester, and then she just like her GPA tanked.
um it's like it's weird because something I've noticed. I mean, like our stories are very similar. It's almost eerie how similar their th train of thought is. It's like when you want to leave Islam, what's the reasonable thing to do to make somebody stay in Islam? Oh, for us, it's gonna be let's trap them in the house, make them feel miserable, force Islam down their throat, force them to read Quran, make it seem as horrible for them and abusive to them as possible, and that'll definitely get them on track. Like that definitely make them Muslim again. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
where's
force
the
them.
logic
Do
in
you like
this?
that quote? There's no compulsion in religion. I think that's the Quran. It's like basically they're trying to
Yes.
say you can't force someone to be Muslim, or like if they're not feeling it in their heart, you can't force them. Well, you can force them to go through the motions. You can force them to go to Islamic school. You can push them to the ground and force them into sajda. You can force them to read Quran for hours on end and like make dhikr and read hadith and do all this stuff. You can force them to learn an entire language that they don't care about learning or don't want to, and so their brain doesn't actually retain that information.
Yeah.
Because you're learning a language because you want to, you remember it, but if you're doing it out of obligation, you're not going to remember that shit.
You know,
If
I went to the
anything,
Islam school for a really long. Oh, sorry.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. It's okay.
I was gonna say I went to the Islam school for a very long time, from fifth grade up until like high school,
For like 8 years and
and
you didn't
yeah,
learn Arabic from
I
them, like
I didn't learn Arabic at all, like from
so
them, but I
stupid.
I, I knew Arabic from
I
like
mean, she said,
previously.
sorry,
Yeah.
but you know, she said that thing about, you know, trapping them in the house. And as far as girls are concerned, this is a recurring theme, you
Yes.
know, being trapped in the house. I mean, I used to say that I was like Rapunzel because I was like trapped, locked in a tower.
Oh my God, I used to
Um,
imagine myself as Rapunzel too. Oh my God, that's why
Yeah,
I
because
loved
I,
when that movie came out. I was like, yes, this is me. Like this is me, my
you
wicked
actually,
stepfather.
I actually
that I went to.
I watched that movie with my family too when I was like I was being trapped in the house too when we watched that movie, and it was just so ironic. I was like, do you guys not see the parallels, or we just not going to talk about it? Okay, okay,
I
fine.
mean, they're like looking at it like, oh, what a beautiful movie. She finally got free and got married. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? You know? And then the other thing I was gonna say, sorry, is that like when my brother brought home that girl he got pregnant, my mom wasn't pressuring him to get married. But, you know, if a girl shows even the slightest inkling of interest in boys, it's like marry her off instantly. She needs to get fucked by a dude she's married to. Like,
Oh
is
my
that
God, yeah.
really better than dating a guy and not getting fucked?
Like,
Because
Yeah, like
if she's
sorry.
dating a guy and she's not actively trying to lose her virginity, she's even telling like, hey, you know, I'm young, I'm not ready yet, and he's like, okay, I'm cool with that. But the parents are like, you like boys, let me take you and marry you off to this guy who's 12 years older than you,
or
because you show
older.
the slightest interest, yeah, in a guy. Even
My
if
my
you
parents, like, whenever they found out that I was dating somebody in high school, this was when I was a junior. My mom literally threatened to send me to Jordan to become this guy's slave, to become his slave and his wife. And she said that he would have sex with me whenever he wanted, and I couldn't say no, and I would have to clean his house all the time. I wouldn't have any freedom, and that would be like she's asking me, "Is that what you want? Date this boy, and this is what's gonna happen." I'm like, "What the fuck? How is that like a reasonable response?"
It's
I
disgusting, and it
mean,
reminds me of the same thing that my mom tried to do, but she actually really was active in trying to get me married to this guy. Like, seriously, like
mhm.
it, and she was, but the thing is, she didn't say that to me, but I knew it deep down. She was telling me, oh, he's gonna let you study, he's gonna let you do this, you're gonna travel, you're gonna go to like his homeland, which is Palestine, by the way.
oh,
So I was like, you want me to go to Palestine so I can die? Like, that, isn't there like a war over there? And you know, it was crazy. Like,
right,
she
like
really was
bullshit, if he
active.
gets you over there, he's gonna trap you in the fucking house and game over.
If that is if you're not like bombed to death by then, I mean,
Exactly.
honestly,
I mean, this thing about
shit.
being trapped in the house is just crazy. It's a form of control and like breeding a person's personality into being submissive. Because after
Yeah.
meeting Sarah, like I was really older, I didn't know my true personality, I guess. Because like if you would have met me when I was like, I don't know, 15, like I was so like quiet and I never talked to anyone. I always had my head down, and I was like, because the last grade I went to was second grade. Third grade school year came around and I didn't go to school. My mom took all of us out of school, and then I
Wow.
didn't go to school for like, it was like 9 years. And then after, the next time I went to school was 11th grade, and it was an Islamic school, and it was not a real school. That's a conversation for another day. But like
I'm
Sarah
just
will
happy
tell
that
you that shit.
I got to meet you there, though. That's the
But
only good thing
it
that I
was
ever
like,
got from that school. That I got
I know, it was
some nice
basically
friends.
like it might as well not have been a school. But like
Yeah.
that whole time in the interim, like I was in the house. I was in the house for years. I needed an excuse to go out or something. And I was just always trying to be like little daughter. And anytime like my brothers, sisters did anything that made my mom upset, and she'd be like, oh, you just start crying, why are they doing this to me, they're trying to cause me anguish because they did this. And it was like, I'm sorry, I'll never do something like that. And it's like, no, you know,
Gonna give
they're
her a
not
heart
doing these
attack.
things because right, they're not doing things and following their impulses because they're directly thinking of your reaction. They're doing it, you know, for their own enjoyment, maybe, you know, so they're trying to live their lives. And obviously I had to find that out later. Crazy
You know what?
how
Why I mentioned? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
getting trapped in the house can affect your mind, your perception of the
Yes.
world, and like your psychology, and the way like you have a lot of, I think people who get almost like a syndrome, like you
Yeah.
were
I
stuck in
Yes.
a
was
bunker.
What is it? Homestuck or something? What is it
I
called?
don't know.
Uh, something home,
I don't
something
know,
like that.
but you know,
But
it's just
the
like
reason, there,
you're
Stockholm?
yeah, go ahead. It's Stockholm.
Were
Yes,
you
yes.
trying to say
Thank you.
Stockholm?
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
like
it.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, yeah, kind of, but you know, deeper than that, because it's like you're house, and you you don't have experience and interactions with other people. You don't know how to interact with people. You become, antisocial,
Yeah.
and once you go out, it's like you're supposed to instantly turn 18. Luckily, after 9 years of not going to school, I was able to get a GED, so it was fine. I remember one time my dad said to me, it's a good thing that, ethnically you're a minority, so the government didn't really care about weren't going to school or something like that. Like, they didn't investigate or force my mom to send me to school.
Yeah.
And
I personally think that homeschool, like, it could be good for some people, but I personally feel that they should regulate it. Like, they shouldn't allow every single person to be able, like, to have their kids homeschooled. I feel like it's very
yeah,
dangerous,
because it's just
very,
you
very
just have to fill
dangerous.
out a paper, and like whatever, they don't care, they don't check up on you, they don't do shit.
I
But
mean, if you don't have a
anyway, it was
disability
just
or you're
I was like,
not like advanced for your age, if you don't have disability or you're not advanced for your age, they probably like they should
there's
investigate
a
that.
reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and
but
the reason. Oh, wait, wait, wait. I
sorry,
just want to
I was
say
just
this one
go
thing.
ahead.
The reason why I mentioned that I went to this homeschool for 8 years. Okay, so I went there for 8 years, and before I ever got my period, I always used to say this excuse for a whole week that I have my period, so I wouldn't have to pray, because they used to force me to pray the sunnah prayer, which is like 2 rakahs, and then after that the regular prayer, and I was just like against that, and I literally got my period until when I was like 15. So that was a long time of like lying since I was like 10 or something, or like 11. Anyways, that's just one funny thing I wanted to add.
Could I also bring up something real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Just like on the topic
Sure.
of like being trapped in the house and like the effects of that. I can say for sure, like I developed PTSD, I personality disorders. I mean, after being trapped in my house for literally almost the entirety of high school, not being allowed to go out, not having a phone, not being able to see friends, not being able to stay after school. It was literally, I just went to school and then came home and I was with my family for every single hour that wasn't school, and that
Oh
shit
my
is
god.
messes with you, it's like psychological. I don't know, it hurts you. It feels weird. I don't
Yes,
know. I was
because
never
you're not
allowed to
allowed
be
to do
myself.
anything. Yes. Oh my god, I
Yeah,
feel
and it's
you. I
like
feel
the
you so
privacy
hardcore.
too, the issue of privacy comes up. And I never had any privacy, which also made it extremely scary because it's like my brother could
Yeah.
walk into my room at any time. My parents never installed a lock in my door, so I never had privacy. They would walk in anytime. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's just
I feel you.
that kind of
I
stuff,
had
like
a
being
similar thing.
forced. Yeah.
Sarah, you didn't even have a bedroom.
I didn't have a
My
bedroom
stepdad took
since I was,
my door off the
yeah.
hinges, so we
Yeah.
didn't have a door.
I
Um,
mean, I literally
or
had to be afraid like every minute of the day. Like when my stepdad would come home, the only time I felt relief was when he wasn't there. I was living in the living room. Every like it was like this. We had an apartment. It had 3 bedrooms. Both of my brothers had a room, and my parents, and then I lived in the living room. Then my brother left. The oldest one left, and then I finally had a room for like, I don't know, a month or something. Then they moved to an apartment that had 2 bedrooms, and then my other brother left, and then I had a room for a little bit, and then he came back and kicked me out, and then eventually he left again, and then I finally got a room, and I had it for 1 year of my life, and it was the best, because it was the best just because I felt like, oh, at least I had a chance to have a room as a teenager, and I could, be like a normal person. And that was the only time I ever felt like privacy. But at the same time, my stepdad would wake up randomly in the morning, like before he would go to work, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, he would open the door and start hitting me with a belt or whatever random thing that he felt like, basically taking out all of his aggression on me and whatever, like his day was bad or whatever. And anyways, that's basically it. That's all I had to
Yeah,
say.
like the same, honestly, the same thing kind of happened to me, but it was with like my brother. I mean, my brother, from what I've told you about him, I'm pretty sure you can assume that he's a psychopath because he is.
yeah,
He's a psychopath. I'm quite frankly, I'm not even sure if he still considers himself as Muslim. The last time I talked to him, he said he was, but I don't know if he's just using that to justify his psychopathy and everything that stems out of that. But even though like I had a door, it was like he came in at any time and he would talk to me, and if I said something, you know, that annoyed him or something, like he'd just beat the shit out of me out of nowhere. It was like walking on eggshells. And especially since I was like trapped in the house, I always had to socialize with him. And I mean, I was getting beat by him daily beatings until I want to say about sophomore or junior year of high school. That's when it stopped because I threatened to call the police. But yeah, daily beatings. And not to mention, like, when I was younger, I mean, he sexually abused me too. So, like, not having that kind of like safety, feeling like you can be in your own room and that person is not going to come inside. The person who molested you as a little kid is not going to come inside. You know, that should be something that everybody should have, right? That kind of freedom to
Yeah,
not be
that's
um,
horrible.
Yeah, I kind
harassed
of
by,
had a
you know,
feeling
that
that you were
type of
gonna
person.
say something like that from before, like when you said that he comes in the room at night, because that's suspicious. You know, that's that like not a normal thing. But
Yeah. I mean,
geez, you know,
like, honestly, he always treated me like as if he was my boyfriend, and it was disgusting, but like I never
it was like a
considered him like that.
jealousy thing and stuff. Yeah, because they act like they're
Yeah. Yeah.
jealous.
Yeah, like even when I
Like if
you
he
know,
was to
I was
catch
saying
you
like
with
my
like
parents
your
were,
actual boyfriend, he would like, you know, react
yeah,
as
he
if
would tell my parents and try and sabotage it and do everything he could to make sure that I'm not with this person, and then, you know, try and prove how great of a brother he is. You know, it's just like, I don't know. It was weird living in like that household. It was just
well, I'm really glad
oh
that
God.
you're out. And I
Thanks.
was gonna say that, you know, before what you said about kind of having that paranoia as a child or as a teenager is definitely ties in with like the PTSD and the thing you said about having psychological effects. Because
Yeah, like
if you
I have a full-fledged like personality disorder now. It's like it's hard to
yeah,
get through, but
and
you know.
like and you can't explain to people why, like maybe if there's like if somebody slams the door, you'll like flinch or jump or look around or something. Like it's ugh, turn on.
Yeah, it's weird. I recently had a couple of panic attacks just this year, and I was at this dining place. It was like a cafeteria kind of setting, and I was sitting and there was a lot of noise, and there was people like how there's like a dining place and people are making a lot of noise, blah blah, and then suddenly I felt my chest is so tight and I can't breathe, and I'm talking to my boyfriend at the time, and and my chest is like so tight, and I'm thinking, what, I don't want to make a scene, I don't want to get up and tell him I can't breathe, and it was weird, and it's all because of like constantly being afraid. It was almost like someone was going to come and slap me from the back, or I don't know, it was weird, like I couldn't control it. It was the freakiest thing, just feeling like you can't breathe, you can't, like, especially because I have anxiety now. I have serious anxiety. When I go outside, I sometimes I open the door and close it and open it and close it before I go outside. I'm so self-conscious. I feel weird. I often apologize to people. I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm such a weirdo, oh my god, I'm such a weirdo. Like I constantly say that, to the point where
Yeah,
it makes me sick.
I'm sorry. That's the other thing I was gonna say about the combination of being trapped in the house, not allowed to socialize with people, or not allowed to socialize with people that you want, not you know, having your friends regulated. Like you can't be friends with any hymns. You can't be friends with her. You can't be friends with her. She's a bad influence. She doesn't wear hijab. Like whatever. So they're controlling. Like, you know, you're allowed to have like two friends and only under supervision. And basically, it's like not having friends at all because you're really isolated. And if your only interaction is with your parents and your immediate family, you're not allowed to go outside the house. You really start to develop this outward layer of like a personality that's really superficial. It's not, sorry, artificial. It's not even your real personality. And it's like it has serious, long-lasting psychological effects about how it affects the way that you interact in the future with like coworkers, friends, you know, romantic partners, like everything. Um, like I was saying, when you grow up like that, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to go to college or you're supposed to get a job, how how are you gonna like interact normally with your coworkers when you don't even know how to talk to people?
Yeah.
It's something that takes like years of practice, and it's like you're reintegrating into society because you never really were in society in the first place because
Yeah.
everything's being regulated. I mean, at the very least, like, I mean, Jemima, at least like you went to school, but that's not really anything because like you're in your classes and you're really just listening to the teacher, and like you can't even stay after school, join extracurricular activities, which is a huge thing, sports, anything like that. You can't be in any clubs. Um, um,
I mean,
and
yeah, there's like no freedom, like even in
you,
school. I mean,
you just don't have a
I'm not allowed
chance
any of that. Yeah.
to.
Was your brother in the same school as you? That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah, he
issue if
was.
he
We
was.
actually
Yeah, of course, because she said 2
two
years.
years apart. So
Oh,
whenever I was a freshman, he was I want to say junior. Yeah, junior. So
I
me and
mean,
him
I
only
can
went
I
to
can only
school.
imagine what it's like to have him every freaking place that you go, your house, your school. I mean, goodness gracious, like can this person just leave you alone?
Honestly,
It,
having to see him all the time, it's just it made me constantly suicidal. Like I felt disgusting every time I saw him, just thinking about like what he did to me, what he's gonna probably do to me whenever we're not in the public eye, whatever he's gonna say to me. Um, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I have a question.
it
When he was like at school, did he
yeah.
have this like persona that he put up to everyone else of being like this really nice, chill guy or something?
Yep.
Like
Yeah, every
nobody
time
could
I
tell.
would because I would come out about my story in high school because I would try and tell it to anybody who would listen, not to like the full extent because I was scared at the time, but as much as I felt comfortable giving, I would try and tell people like, yeah, he's horrible. And every single time people would be so surprised. They'd be like, I never thought your brother would be like that, and I'm like, you don't know him. None of you guys know him. He's so good at lying, at putting up face. He's manipulated my parents. I mean, and I can't tell if that's just because they want to be manipulated or if because they really like him because he's a boy or whatever. I mean, it could be
yeah,
both. Like he's both good at
he knew,
manipulating, and because he's a man, he gets away with it even better.
he knew how to
You know?
take advantage of his situation. He knew that he was favored, and he saw the
Yeah,
opportunity from
and
a young
like
age.
when I went to the counselors even and told them about the abuse, he talked his way out of it. He straight up just talked his way out of it. No CPS ever showed up. Like I said, earlier, like nothing happened. He
Yeah.
was very good at getting himself out of these situations where he has to own up to what he did. The only time he ever owned up was the first time I went to the hospital after trying to crash my car and kill myself. Um, that's the only time he ever tried to own up, but later he took that back and said it was all my fault and I was the reason why he did everything, which is
Hmm.
bullshit that he has his own choice.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say
yeah.
that I noticed something about abusive personality types is that they kind of have two personalities, one that they show to the public eye and one that they show to the person they're abusing, that one that they
Classic
show in
psycho.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like people
It
people
kind of
who.
reminds me of American Psycho a little bit because I just recently
Oh
watched it and how
yeah,
he had to put up a front.
yeah, he had like two
And
personalities.
yeah,
Yeah,
straight up,
it's
like, I mean,
literally a
inside he was,
psycho.
yeah. And they
So
Yeah.
like,
recognize it too. They recognize it. They just, and they show it to you sometimes. You just have to listen. Listen to the way that they speak.
exactly, you have to be perceptive, and I'm sorry, the majority of the population is not perceptive to these types, who like have a very fake persona that they put up in public. And you ever get that feeling like when you're talking to someone and you get a chill and you're like, this person, like that smile just seemed fake or weird, and
Yeah.
you're like, where's your real personality, please?
To give
Because
you an idea of like what my brother is portraying himself to be right now, he's pretending as if he's like some kind of positive, I mean, life guru. Those like self-help people? He thinks he's one of those people? And so like everybody who meets him, he's always going on about staying positive, staying on the good side of life, all this stuff, right? And then you never know that like what he did to me unless if I were to tell you. And like that's why, I mean, for as long as I'm alive, if he ever finds like a girlfriend or a wife, I mean, I'm gonna every single one of them, I'm gonna tell them everything that happened. I
Yeah,
have
you
to.
should.
you want to win.
I don't want them. Yeah, I don't want them because he's
I
definitely
feel you
gonna abuse
actually,
them. He's gonna abuse the kids that he has. If he ever has kids, he's gonna abuse them. If he ever has a wife, he's
for a
gonna abuse
fact.
her.
You
Anybody in
know,
his life, he's going to hurt them. I know it.
you know, this reminds me of my stepdad having this persona. Everybody thinks he's nice and giving, because he goes out of his way to help people, out of his way to show, like, it's kind of like kissing ass or something to everyone. And they all have this like good perspective on him, or like point of view, I guess, whatever.
Mhm.
And the thing is, they don't know how evil he is, like how mean and cruel and disgusting he was towards me. I mean, he like, I mean, it was crazy, like how every single day it was abuse, like every single day. There was
Yeah.
not one day without fail that I did not cry. Every day I cried. And
Yeah,
now it's
same.
kind of surprising to me, like, I don't cry, like I don't, because it's like I'm not an emotional person. You know, I don't really show my emotions that much. But it's like crazy, like this is who I am. I'm not a crier, like I don't cry that much, and if I'm just left by myself. And one time I was just sitting, it was like, because I left my stepdad. I'm just with my mom now, and she never hit me or anything. But I was laying down, and I thought, wow, no one is bothering me, no one is hurting me, no one's gonna come and slap me. I can defend myself, I can tell them what I think, and nothing's gonna happen to me. And it was like a I don't know, a moment.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, no, it was a moment of like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like
Oh,
I didn't have to live. I guess it is overwhelming in a way, because it's like, oh my God, like I was just by myself at night, and I was thinking, I'm laying here, I can lay anywhere, I can go to any room, I don't have, there's no locks in every room. I can do anything, I can go eat anything that I want, I don't have to. And also, he used to force feed me, he used to give me huge plates, and I would put half of the food in a bag. And my mom knew about it, you know, she would give me the bag, so I would put the food in the bag, and then put it underneath like a couch or something until he was gone, and then throw it in the trash, because I couldn't eat that much, because it was weird.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to overfeed you as another form of abuse. But
Yeah. Can I say
or
one last
getting
thing about my stepdad? Because you guys were
yeah.
talking about how there's like jealousy and whatever. And even though he's never like touched me sexually ever, like honestly, um, I always felt like, am I his little wife? Because he gets so jealous and mad if he even suspects that I like a boy. And I even altered my personality so that I would be more childlike, more innocent, more whatever, just so that they would leave me alone. And I would be like, ew, boys, oh my God, I don't want to be near them. Ew. Like I would do everything in my power to show that I was innocent, just because I felt like this weird thing of like, does he see me as his little wife for real? Because I don't know if he saw me that way, but that's how I felt he treated me. Like, am I his wife? Like, I couldn't wear jeans, I couldn't wear this. I mean, I literally had like huge shirts that, you know, would never fit me in my lifetime. And he would say you would grow into them, and I never did. But anyways, that's basically all I wanted to say
Yeah.
about that, because you guys talked about it earlier.
No, but it's just oh sorry, I had a thought and I lost it. It's just that you got like it's not that he did anything, but you got like a weird vibe from him because of the way that he, you know, wanted you to do certain things, or the way that he treated you, like how a guy, an abusive guy treats, you know, his girlfriend or whatever. It's the same
Yeah.
thing exactly, because an abusive guy, he's going to treat, you know, oh, I remember what I was gonna say. You said that you like kind of made yourself more childlike and were like, oh, you know, boys, ew, they have cooties or whatever. And it was like, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about how it. But it's not that I was pretending that I didn't like boys. I think I actually brainwashed myself into not even being attracted to them or giving them the second look. I mean, I was like 15 or 16, and my stepdad came up to me one time and he was like, I know you're already thinking about boys, and I was like, I'm actually really not. Um,
Same
now
here.
that you mention it,
All I all I could
I'm
think
kind
of
of
was like
busy, you
cartoon
know,
boys or
playing with my
something.
toys, you know, right? But they already have this idea that like, even if you're not mentioning it, even if you're not looking at a guy or talking about guys or thinking about guys or having anything to do with guys at all, they still convince themselves that like you're horny, you're trying to find a dude, you're trying to do something. So it's like no matter what you do to convince them, you can't win. And I know that
No
on
matter
some
what.
level
Yeah.
they knew that like I wasn't trying to do that. It's kind of like when somebody tells you, accuses you of doing something, and you're like, well, I wasn't before, but you know, since you already think I'm doing it, I might as well do it, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's
And can
like,
I say one
you know,
thing? See, you can't win. You know why? If you like boys and they know that you like boys, you're a whore. If you show no interest in boys, they suspect you're gay.
you're a
And
lesbian.
see,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
because they used to call me that a lot, or they used to
Mhm.
like try to
One
make
time I
it
said,
like seem like it.
uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
he's so cute. And I was talking about a baby, like a little 6-month-old baby. I said, he's so cute. And my sister popped in real quick and she said, what? Who? And then she was like, oh, I thought for a second you actually liked the guy. Like, don't I hope you mature soon because, you're gonna grow up to be a lesbian or something. Like, you can't win.
You can't win. You
Yeah.
can't win. I mean, I literally my cousin tried because when they were trying to force me to get married to that guy, and they were trying any way possible because I was like, hell no, I don't like him. Ew, he's older than me, like way older than me. Looks really old. He looks like an abuser. Whatever. I couldn't even communicate with him properly because my dialect of Arabic is not even the same dialect that he has, and so it was weird. Like so anyways, my cousin gets mad at me or for whatever reason, and he goes up to my mom and he's like, look at your daughter, she's like trying to control us or do whatever, like she's out of line. And then my mom comes and slaps me. I guess I said she didn't hit me before, but she did. Like she slapped me before. But anyway, so then he goes and he's like, you're a lesbian. And I said, oh, it takes a gay person to know a gay person, you must be gay. And then he was like, and then he grabbed me from the back of my neck and tried to make me like go on my knees. And then I punched him in the stomach, which was weird because I couldn't control myself. I literally could not control myself. And then he looked so I don't know, devastated or something, like on his face. He was like shook. He was like, she punched me. And I was like, oh, well, you grabbed the back of my neck. Like, you're a strong man who's way taller than me, bigger than me, older than me. Like, he's at least 20 years older than me. And he like grabbed me from the back of my neck. So I was like, hell no. And so that was the moment that it was like one of the things that I remember when they try to call me gay to manipulate me into getting married to that man. Anyways.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. It's like nothing you could do. And then, being gay, even though we're not gay, and none of us are, but even if you were, it's like that's a sin too. So you can't win. Like if you were attracted to forbid if you were attracted to girls, because then any chance you had of having friends, even female friends, is out the window. So you're just going to be completely isolated as a Muslim girl, because you can't hang out with boys or girls at that point. But I don't know what I was going to say. Just that, like, it's important. It's really important for people to be able to recognize abusive personality types. It's not something that's taught in school that I know of, and like not in like regular school, like college or anything. Like it's important, and it's something that people should know more about. Like we were, all of us were talking about how they have like these two. They have their real personality, and then they have this persona, this front that they put up. And it's important to be able to recognize that and see through that. And I was thinking about this other thing, because like now that I think about it, there's so many like abusive personalities that I've met in my life, not like directly like that's my immediate family, but that I know for a fact, and that I know I'm just gonna like go out there and say that like domestic violence and stuff is a very, very like not sensitive topic, but I feel strongly about it because recently, like, my sister, it was very recent. It was like probably within the last month or two. Anyway, her boyfriend beat her so bad, like he gave her a concussion and he sent her to the hospital. And I'm the one who drove her to the hospital. And it was bad. It was the worst. And it was like something that you would never like want to see, and you would never want to for that person. I tried everything to convince her not to go back to him, and she went back that same day to the back to the house. And I was like trying to like, look, he's gonna do it again. Like, he gave you a concussion, he hit you, he punched you, he hit you in the head. Like, he could have given you a brain injury, he could have killed you, he could kill you. He threw hot water on you when you were like 7 months pregnant. Like, it's gonna keep happening again. She's like, no, it's not gonna happen again. I mean, he got arrested recently, so that's good. I don't know if he's still in jail. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he fucking stays there. But like, I knew from more than a year ago that he was like that. And like, how is it that I can recognize this shit and other people would just stay? And I wish that I could like warn every girl that like you know, first of all, I want my sister to break up with him, but I just want to warn like every girl who ever gets in contact with him, like, look, like, don't do it. Like, he's gonna be he needs help. He needs his own psychological help, his issues he needs to deal with, but don't fucking don't date him. Like, and it's like my other brother, who Sarah knows who I'm talking about, like he's definitely abused. He didn't abuse me personally, but like I know he is. I mean, there was this one time that he pulled my hair and tried to drag me and like tried to choke me or whatever, but that was stupid. After
Yeah.
do you remember that time
Yes.
he he pulled my ponytail, and then he was like over me trying to choke me, and then my sister saw, and she like called my mom because she didn't even want to touch him. My mom came over and she like lightly slapped him. Like, it wasn't even a slap. She like tapped him on the back and she was like, "Get off." And then I was like shaking, and I went to the kitchen and I was standing there. You know, the first thing she did, she didn't even say anything to him. She came to the kitchen and she said, "What did you do?"
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. My parents used to say that all the time.
You know what's crazy? It's like he was like trying to be my friend at that time. Like, he liked me, and
Yeah,
we
I
were
remember.
friends, and I didn't have a bad image of him at all. And then as soon as you told me that he pulled your hair, I instantly
No, I didn't
hated
tell
him.
you. He told you.
Yeah, he told
called
me.
you and
Yeah.
he bragged about it to you. And me and you weren't speaking at that time. He bragged about it to you, and then after he told you that, you called me and you were like, "Hey, like, he told me what he did."
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he didn't tell you. Oh man, but like,
I mean,
I knew
I've had
what kind of
experiences
psychopath
with my
he was.
brother.
A genuine psychopath, and that's why I can recognize psychopaths.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and it was weird. Like, he always wanted to hang out with us, and we were like way younger than him. Like, me and the other girl, you know, she was even younger than me, and he liked me and he liked her, and they had a really unhealthy relationship, and it was weird. But yeah, like when he said that to me, I instantly was like, "I hate you, and I will never like you ever again." Not like you, but, you know, like you as a person. I said like. Hey, Arnold.
Is it okay if I say something?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Go ahead.
This is all.
Sorry,
This whole thing is about you. Yeah, you can give
we
your
talk
time.
way too much.
Go ahead.
It's okay. I mean, I just wanted to say, like, because I'm actually gonna have to leave in a couple minutes, so yeah. Just wanted to say for everybody who's listening right now, I mean, because we're talking about, like, the main thing that I noticed when we were talking is that nobody noticed our abuse. Nobody noticed what was going on. And I mean, I have to credit the reason why I left the house was because I had a friend who's no longer my friend, but I still appreciate her so much for this, who told me I needed to get out of there. This is not normal. I mean, if there's any non-Muslims watching, please, you have to talk to your Muslim friends, especially the women. I mean, get them to talk to you. I mean, my friends, I mean, at the time I was Muslim, I thought I was, and I advocated for Islam, and you know, I defended it to no end, you know, no matter what the criticism was. And, you know, she respected that, and she let me talk, and she let me say all this stuff, you know. And as time went on, as we became friends for longer, I started coming out more, telling her more about what was going on at home. And I started to realize, as I was telling her, you know, this is not normal. Her life is not like this. None of my friends' lives are like this. Okay? The only friends that I had who were going through the same stuff as me were also Muslim. And that's not a coincidence, right? So, I mean, let your, I don't know, just find the signs, like, see the signs. Things aren't up, you need to mention it to the person who's going through this stuff, because chances are, like, we don't realize it. I never realized it. It took me so long to realize that this isn't how normal families are. This isn't how my brother is supposed to treat me. This isn't the normal kind of affection, you know. I mean, there's so many warning signs too. And if there's any adults that are watching this, especially, I mean, all the adults in my life failed me. They failed me so hard. All the people who were supposed to protect me, they never did.
100%.
Right? And that's, it makes you lose your faith in the world as you're older. It makes you feel like you don't even matter, like what you went through, you know, maybe you even deserved it. And
Yeah.
That's not true at all.
You know
So,
what
I
the big
mean,
issue is?
yeah, that,
Like a lot of people, even if you tell them, some people will, you can tell them your story, and then what are they going to do? They're going to tell you, what did you do? I mean, I've had this happen to me multiple times where I told someone
You
my
must have
story
done
because I thought
something
I was,
wrong.
yeah, I felt that I was close to them, and then they just were like, oh, what did you do? Oh, that's not normal. You must have done something. Oh, there's no way that they hit you every day. There's no way that they did this. There's no, oh,
Mm-hmm.
and then the best part is when they say, well, I was abused too. And their idea of abuse is they got spanked. It's like, you have no
Oh
idea.
yeah,
I was
you get it one
punched.
time.
I was
Yeah.
hit. I was hit with a belt to my eye. Like, I could have been blind.
hmm
But I'm saying that's
hmm
the issue. Like, like you said, losing faith in life, and just in humanity and whatever. It's like, yeah, like when someone comes up to you who's never experienced anything like that, and you think that they're gonna, you make them close to you, and you feel that they understand you, and then they tell you that shit, and then you're like, nobody understands me.
Yeah,
Nobody gets me. Nobody understands.
they'll either say like, oh, that's severe of a punishment, like must have been brought on by something, you must have done something to at least trigger that, which first of all, like, for an abuser to do something, they don't really need an excuse. Like they
Yeah.
literally make up their own excuses to do stuff. But
Yeah.
sorry, I was gonna say the other thing is that, oh my god, I completely blanked. Shit, what was I gonna say? Sorry.
it's
Um
okay. Don't worry about
that
it.
that like, it was similar. Oh, right. The other thing is that when you're talking to someone who hasn't experienced that and you're recounting these bad things that have happened in your life, they're like, sounds like you're only focusing on the negative. Like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
tell you all of my bad memories, try to remember the good memories and focus on those that's in the past, whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, bad things, good things, more primarily bad things, like they do affect you, they affect who you become as a person, they affect
Yeah.
your personality, and you have to go to counseling, and you have to you have to get a therapist, and you have to do all these things to repair the damage that's been done over years.
Yeah.
And people, the average person is just, if they can't relate, they're not sympathetic, because they're just like, stop thinking about the past, stop being negative, whatever. And you're like, okay, you don't understand, this is affecting my life, and it's always going to affect my life, because it's like a part of making me who I am now. But
To this day, dude, to this
like,
day,
that's why
I
some
mean,
people don't say, oh, sorry, I had one more thing. That's why some people
oh, go ahead.
don't come out and say what happened to them, because they're like used to getting responses like this. Either you're being negative and you're just thinking about bad things, or you're over exaggerating, or whatever, you must have done something wrong, and it's everybody gets punished, everybody has bad things happen to them, or whatever. And
Yeah.
shit, I forgot again, I was gonna say something else.
Oh.
I don't know. um
I was gonna
but
say one thing
go
that
ahead.
to this day, like to this day, it affects me. Why? Because when I go outside, I feel so anxious. I hate to be near people. I hate loud noises. I don't want anybody to touch me. If somebody touches me, I freak out. Not freak out and like, oh my god, I start, but I get mad. I get like, it bothers me. It affects me. One time,
Mhm.
this kid just threw something in it. He like, no, he clapped near my face like to provoke me. I think he was just whatever, but it bothered me so much that I it bothered me for like 2 days or something. That how dare he even come near me and clap his hands near me? It
Yeah,
affects
that's
me
that's
like
straight up
at a deep
PTSD.
level.
That is
Yeah,
PTSD.
Yeah.
like and
That's one of the symptoms, like, being sensitive to loud noises, being sensitive to people being close within a certain amount of like inches or something, feeling uncomfortable with people being like too close to you and stuff like that.
yeah, and the biggest problem, I always say this, I keep saying the biggest issue, whatever. Anyways, another thing is that I can never be on time because I have so many little rituals I have to do before I go out. I have to
Right.
feel like I look. I have to like. It's weird because it's like they never allowed me to dress the way that I wanted or whatever, and I always felt like shit. And I'm almost trying to like rebuild myself, and I have to like think about how do I look?
Mhm.
Are they gonna look at me? Are they gonna say anything? Oh, I hope they don't come near me. I hope nobody talks to me. I just want to go outside and not hear anybody say anything to me because a lot of like sometimes boys will say something. It just makes me so uncomfortable, and so it's like it's affecting me at such a deep level that I can't even function. I'm late to everything. Like I have a boyfriend right now, and every time he's like, okay, I'm gonna meet you at this time, and I always make him wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I don't mean to do that, and it bothers me so much to make him wait, but it's like I have to open the door and close it and open it and close it, and I
Yeah.
have to like think about everything. It's like overthinking,
Hey, sorry,
overthinking,
I
anxiety.
want to
Yeah.
interrupt you for a second just to
No, no, go ahead.
I
I'm
feel like
done
I have to
anyways.
repeat the thing that I said at the beginning because at the beginning we had like 2 or 3 viewers and now we have 12 and there's a Muslim in the live chat and I would like to just repeat the thing that we said at the beginning. He commented that you guys parents or families weren't following the religion properly. I would blame the culture.
Yeah.
We are 3 women from
Oh,
3 different cultures. So, there are millions of Muslims in the world from lots of different countries. They do not all have the same cultures. So, we're just going to get that out of the way. That is false. That is not true. You can't blame the culture when the cultures are all different, okay? The only thing we have in common is Islam. So, please debunk that. You can't because that's it. The only thing we have in common is Islam. Islam, Islam promotes violence. Islam promotes, uh, you know,
Inequality,
child
abuse,
abuse. It does. It promotes
abuse of
domestic
everyone,
violence.
to be
It
honest.
there's was I think it's the hadith that says if your kid is 10 and they don't make salat, you're allowed to beat them. So yeah, that little one just opens the door. It's like if they're not doing something to be like the perfect little Muslim, you're allowed to beat them. So, it's not frowned upon. It's not like there's a hadith that says, "Hey, don't beat your kids." Like, no, it doesn't exist. So, that's out of the way. No.
Oh, can I say one other thing that I saw in the comments? I think some people think that I said that my boyfriend like tried to slap me. No, I said that when I was in the cafeteria thing, I was talking to him and he was talking to me, and I couldn't even focus because there was so much noise, and I felt my chest was tight, and I was thinking in my head, I want to get up and go out, but I didn't want to make a scene or anything, and I didn't want him to feel weird. So no, he did not try to slap me. I just said that it felt like someone was going to come and slap me, or someone was going to attack me or something. That's why
Yeah, and
I
it's
felt
just like
anxious.
this random paranoia that arises out of nowhere, just this feeling that you
Yeah.
get for no, good reason. And it's just one of those things that it's only going to go away with like time and like
Hmm.
months or even years and like, therapy helps. But
Yeah. And
PTSD and all of these symptoms and these psychological effects, you know, it's it's long lasting.
yeah, and the thing is, it's like I can't, like, I'm trying to like describe it. I could hear every single knife or fork scraping on the dishes. I could hear the noises. It was crazy, and I swear to God, he was talking. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I just saw his pretty lips move, and that's all, And anyways,
Okay. Well, I just want to
we
say
talked a lot.
something.
Hmm.
Jumana, I know you said you had to go, but if you can another time, I would love to have you back on uh
Yeah, of course.
for
I was
another
actually gonna
show because
ask
I
you,
feel
like,
like yes, no, seriously, I really want to because I think there's a lot more material here that we can cover
mm, yeah,
and go into more detail about different things
I
and different.
definitely want to talk about like the depression of like when you're thinking that you're Muslim and then the depression that comes after that's completely different. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
would love to talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because
Depression that like,
I was gonna say something. There's this misconception that like just because suicide is haram, that means that Muslims don't think about it or don't do it or don't want to do it. Like no,
mhm,
it being haram and instantly you go to hell immediately. Like that's not really a deterrent. Even if we truly believe in Islam and we truly believe that that's the punishment, okay, it's like this is this is how depression works. Like when you get to a certain stage of being sad, you hit the limit of how sad you can be, and then you reach into this next level of just being numb, and you don't feel anything, and you just feel like you have no emotion, and you can't
and
even
then
cry
also like
anymore.
yeah, and like the implication, like if you're Muslim when you're debating suicide, I mean, obviously, if you're debating suicide at that point, and the punishment in Islam is like going to hell, I mean, wouldn't you think that you deserve that if you're already feeling like you feel like you don't belong and you want to kill yourself and all that, like wouldn't that feel like,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
know, uh, uh,
it's a misconception that, ex-Muslims are the only ones that think that are suicidal, or that, have suicidal thoughts, because if you're prone to depression, you could be depressed when you were Muslim and after you become ex-Muslim, and have those suicidal thoughts both before and after. And it's something that,
and
I think we could have an entire show talking about that.
yeah,
Jeez.
definitely for sure. So yeah, I'll totally like email you and let you know when this is the next time I'm free and I can come back on the live stream. So
Okay,
yeah.
I really want
That's
to,
great.
and keep
It was
checking in
really
and keep
nice
making
having you.
videos, because like I think people want to see your videos, because you're cute and stuff, but also
Oh, thank
because
you
they like to
guys.
hear your
And we
your
like your
story.
tattoos.
Yeah, yeah. And your art, and we want to
Thank
see
you.
you, and you're scaring us, talking about like saying you don't know how long you're gonna be around. So I just want to like keep checking in to make sure that you're still okay, and making videos, like
And
no matter what happens, just keep making them, and keep like speaking out and stuff. And we can do another show, like either a week or 2 weeks,
you know
depending.
what I would recommend?
Hmm.
I would
Yeah.
recommend changing all of your documents. Like, what I mean is change your name, like try to find out if you can change your social security number, do all of
Well,
that
I don't
stuff.
think you
Because,
can. No, you can't do that.
well,
But you can change it. I
dang
don't think
it,
so.
that's
But
the
you can
problem with
change your
having
name.
parents that have seen it like your whole life
I
and
know,
they
right?
have
Like they
copies
want
of
to.
it.
The fucking
Mhm.
parents steal your identity, and
But what
use
you can
your
do
shit for.
But what you can do is put, like, like, I mean, when you have enough money, when you're more secure,
Oh,
you
like
can
the
do this
identity
thing.
monitoring thing.
Yes, and I mean,
Yeah.
just do everything to protect yourself, and you will be successful. You're 19, right? So you have a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
life to live, and fuck your brother, and he's an asshole. He doesn't, don't be afraid. Just do anything in your power to leave that state. Seriously, just leave it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I'm
so.
I'm honestly trying really hard. I'm on my grind. That's why it's been I rarely have a day off like now. Like I'm trying to work
Yeah, but
just
that's
all the
good.
time, you know.
Right, I feel you. I
Yeah.
used to work
Yeah,
three
trying to
jobs.
get
Now I only
myself.
got
Because like
two, but it's good. You
I
gotta.
honestly live in the same city as my parents. Like I run
Oh
into
my
them
god.
quite frequently, I'm not gonna lie. So and they know where I
What?
live and everything, and they've
Oh
come by the
no.
house.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so but my boyfriend's here and he's in the room right now. He just pulled out a knife and he's like, "That's not gonna happen." So
Yes,
yeah,
get it. This is the only time
Good.
that I suggest getting a gun, because I don't like
Right.
guns that much, but like damn, you need to protect yourself. I would even
Shit.
recommend getting, those little door things,
Um, a
the things that
taser,
you get a
pepper
taser,
spray.
get no, I'm saying the thing that you put on your door where it's like blocking your door. It's like this little metal thing that you put on your door to protect, like from someone coming in. Get
Oh, you
that.
mean like
I mean,
the bolt lock or whatever?
hmm
yeah,
Um,
and also
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure make sure another thing, take out your I'm like giving you all the advice for like safety because I'm a paranoid person. Anyways, you can take, how
one
they
thing
have the
that
little
living with these people
screwdrivers.
has taught us is like how to be paranoid. I
Yeah,
could see her
those
off the
little
face of the planet
screwdrivers in
right
the
now.
door and the lock. You know how if you take them out, they're gonna be kind of short. Try to get like really, really long ones. So even if somebody tries to kick in your door, like you're good. Like they can't. It's gonna be so difficult for them to do because it's
Oh,
like it's kind of
yeah. I mean,
it's kind of like having a tooth. You know how your teeth are all the way up, like the
yeah, but I
root
mean,
of
she's
it.
such a.
So
But no, I mean, we definitely recommend like shit. You got to get out of that city at least. Like even if you're staying
Yeah,
in
yeah,
state,
for
like that's
sure. I mean,
crazy.
it's like they're like
You gotta save up and
yeah, like sorry, just one last thing.
know where you
Um
live. Okay.
you were saying like how you close the door like a bunch of times, you have like this little ritual before you go out. It's like my ritual is like reading all of the license plates that pass by me to make sure that it's like not my parents, looking into every car, looking into parking lots, always just like watching my back, and if I'm in a store, I'm never like looking at the products, I'm always looking at the people because I'm terrified.
yeah,
I'm terrified. God.
Jeez.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have your boyfriend, so I'm sure he can. Like
I
if you
mean,
guys work
that's
together, you
that's
guys can
good that
can
you
go.
have like someone supportive there, for you. Like that's really sweet. That's good. Um, but anyway,
And I
that's
hope the
that's all.
best
Like I
for
don't know if
you,
you have to go. Like you can
and
whenever
just
you
stay
want.
safe. I
however
don't know if
long
you
you
could
need
heard
to.
me.
All right.
But yeah.
But
Yes, I did. Thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity and this platform to like talk to y'all and talk to your audience, and I really appreciate it, guys. I really
make
do.
more videos, make more videos on your channel. Like, come back on ours again. You know, you're always welcome. This
Mhm.
was
And it was really awesome talking to you, and it was great. Like, honestly, thanks.
Yeah, I honestly
I'm
want to
not
say
that
that this was
articulate.
almost like therapeutic for me,
yeah.
like
I
talking to
hope
other
so.
Muslim women.
Yeah, ex-Muslim, but yeah.
Ex-Muslim, sorry, yeah. But yeah,
But even some
thank you
Muslim women
guys.
might come across this and rethink their whole life, you know? So
Yeah, that was well. The other thing I wanted to say is that, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, that, you know, you hear these things and you're like, oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, I can relate to that. Oh, that actually sounds like that reminds me of something that happened to me. Oh, maybe that wasn't actually that normal. I kind of what part of the problem is that, you know, if you grow up in this environment, you don't even realize that it's not normal. You don't even realize that there's a problem, like,
Hmm.
so deep seated. Because of course, you know, you can watch TV and you're like, well, they don't show abuse like that on TV. But then again, it's TV, so TV is not like how life is anyway. But a lot of things
you know,
that are just they just go under the radar, even of the person that it's happening to. And it
I
takes a lot
promise
to
you that nobody
recognize.
understands. I mean, not nobody understands, but a lot of people just don't
Yeah, I
understand.
mean,
I
that's
literally was
another
talking to
part of
someone
why
recently.
it's
Dude, I
hard
was
to
talking
tell
to
people.
someone recently, and I was telling him about this stuff, and he was like, oh, you know, I was abused too. And I was like,
Yeah.
how? Like, you know, I wanted to know. And then he's like, well, when I went to school, people would, like, you know, there's these guys that used to bully me. And I'm like, you're comparing getting bullied like a few, like maybe like one time or two times. And I'm not dissing anyone that's like being bullied or whatever. I'm just saying there's a difference between being bullied, like, and then going home and feeling safe with your parents, and then after like going what is it, being abused by your parents, and then getting abused by a random person like
Yeah.
randomly.
Anyway,
I
she
mean,
left the
yeah.
call, so if you want, we can stay on
Do you want to
longer, like,
continue this?
till. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the depression thing, or we can
Oh yeah.
save that for the next a
I
little
mean,
now,
we
and
can
then.
talk about something, you know, like I guess kind of continue on the same theme or something, you know, like I can ask you questions,
Hmm. Hey,
like, and you can
I'm
ask me
just gonna
questions.
reply to a comment
Oh
that
yeah.
somebody
Oh,
said.
we should reply to
I think he's
comments right now.
the only Muslim in the chat said, Lilith, how did you leave your abusive family? Well, I haven't been here since the beginning, because I said earlier that my family was not abusive, or that I didn't claim that my family was abusive. So I'm just that's my answer to that.
Yeah.
You know, he said, "How did you leave?" So like, do you want advice? Is your family abusive? You want me to tell you how to leave? I'm just saying that what I meant was that, like, being trapped in the house as abusive, because, you know, when I say that, like, it taught me how to be paranoid or whatever, or being paranoid. Paranoia comes from, like, not just abuse, but the different types of, like, the way that people treat you or control you or keep you in the house or whatever. So it's not just paranoia, but it's like, you know, you learn how to be secretive. If your parents, if you're 19 or 20 years old, 20-year-old woman still living at home, and your mom isn't letting you have a phone because she thinks that you're going to have a boyfriend or whatever, or that you're going to be texting boys or sexting boys or whatever, then you're going to learn how to have a phone and keep it a secret. So, I
That's what I
mean,
did.
that's what I was referring to,
Thanks to
right?
you. And you
I'm
know,
sorry, but
let me tell you guys a story about how Lilith got me a phone when my stepdad took my phone. She got me a phone, and she literally paid like $50 or like $55 every month for like 9 months, just so that I would have a phone. And she didn't even have a job or anything. And I don't know how she managed to do this, but that is like that's like goals. Like that's like a person that you put on top of your head. Like I know that's like such an Arab saying, but it's like that's
Don't you remember though? I was in college and I was getting the school refund for like the grants, the tuition or whatever. Like they give you
yeah.
like once a semester they give you like a certain amount of money, financial aid. Yeah, that's what it was. I got some financial
Yeah.
aid, so it was like
Legit,
a
like
decent amount.
I'm
I made that shit
was it
last the whole
indebted?
semester.
Was
Aw,
it
so sweet.
indebted to you? Like because honestly, like this is my best friend in life. Like there is no one like her. Like I love her so much, like more than my family, more than anybody. Like I feel like um I always make this joke of like if I was with a man and he said me or Lilith, I'll be like bye bitch. even if I had two even if I had two kids with him. Like
Two
I mean
kids. I'll
yes,
adopt one of
because
them.
yeah, well, yeah, like I don't need him. I got Lilith. Like I don't. I mean, what is
Lily,
it?
you
Men are
gotta get
replaceable.
these people to get used to
Yeah,
calling me
Lily.
Lily.
Oh, okay, I was
Some
gonna
of them.
say, what was it? Men are
I mean
replaceable,
the
but
same
Lilith
the
is forever.
same here
Lily is
because
forever.
it's a deeper issue than that. If a guy tells you, "Hey, you have to choose between your best friend and me," you're not going to choose me just because I'm your friend. You're going to choose me because he had the nerve to even say such a controlling and abusive, manipulative statement to you. Any person who wants you to choose between someone else important in your life is not somebody worth being around anyway. Because that's straight up abusive, and there's so many red flags when in relationships, in all types of relationship, romantic relationships, familial relationships, that people don't recognize, because they're not educated about psychology, sociology, whatever. Not saying I'm like fucking psychology master, but I mean, there's some things that you can learn just from life experience, street smarts or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that you can recognize a red flag
Yeah.
within a person. And I'm sorry. Oh shit, I forgot to mention earlier when I told her that the guy that beat up my sister, that he was trying to become Muslim. I totally forgot to tell her that he was like reading the Quran,
Yeah.
and he was interested, and he was like, he has his own Quran. He's like, I'm about to convert and stuff, and he's like interested in becoming it. And the thing that people don't understand is that they'll be like, oh, this person was violent before they joined. Yes, but let me explain something to you, sweetie. He, yeah, he was violent before he, convert. I don't know. Well, he didn't convert yet, but he's thinking about it. He probably will. So, like, say he converts.
Yeah.
He was violent before he converted, but guess what? Islam condones his actions. It says in the Quran, you can beat your wife. He already did that, so he's already following the Quran. So, I mean, he was, technically not his wife, but people can find a way to. It's basically the thing is that if you're an abusive personality type, Islam is
Mm-hmm.
on your side. It's not hard at all to get it to work for you. That sure, in
Yeah.
the media, people are gonna, the quote peaceful Muslims are gonna come out and be like, of course that's not, that doesn't represent our faith or
Yeah.
whatever. But the fact is that he can, you know, he can use it like, I'm sorry, like he can the Quran backs him. And you can say with your mouth and with words like, hey, that doesn't, that's not us, that doesn't represent us. But guess what? Actions speak louder than words. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
your words mean nothing, but we can look at the actual scripture. We can look at the examples of a bunch of Muslims. We can look at the
Yep.
statistics of Muslim countries and the statistics of Muslims living in the US and in other not even Muslim countries. And we can look at the statistics of how sometimes when they go to another country, they immigrate there, but they don't assimilate into the society, and then they're still like stuck in their ways, and they'll either like have their wife and have their abuse going on in their home even though they're in an American country, or they'll like, sorry, I said American country, in the US or the UK or whatever.
In the Western
And
society.
yeah, and or they'll like be abusive towards or be violent towards an innocent person who is just a regular citizen of that country. And I'm not, you know, I'm not stomping on immigration or immigrants here, because I just said a second ago that this is not just people from other countries. This is converts too. This is people who
Converts
were
are
raised
actually
here and
sometimes
raised.
worse.
I know. Like, look at this shit. The some of these like regular white dudes and regular black dudes convert in jail, or convert like they've never been in jail, whatever. They convert, and then they go so hardcore, and they read so in depth, more things than even the average Muslim who was born into it usually reads about or knows about. So they were like they're like deep in the apologetics. But I don't know. I was just saying that like it doesn't matter if they were born in the Muslim country, or if their parents were there but they're first generation, like here they
Mm-hmm.
were born in the US, or if they're, or none of their family was, their parents were converts or they're a convert. Like, it all goes back to the same thing. We have these recurring themes. So I'm sorry, it's not culture. I'm sorry. I don't care how many times different people say it. I'll say the same thing as many times as I need to, because like one person will say it's culture and I'll tell them no, and then the next person right after will say it's culture, and I'm like, you didn't hear me just say to the other guy it's not culture. Like, you they keep saying it, but it's like it's already been disproven. It's debunked. Like, it's not culture. It's just not,
Yeah.
because you have a fucking convert who grew up in the US who's acting crazy, and
And you know
like
the saddest thing is that they come
that's
from
not their
nice
freaking culture.
homes. No, I'm saying they come
Yeah.
from nice homes. They probably had a normal, decent, life. They had all the pleasures, especially with the women. Like, this is what grinds my gears. The convert, women. They had a normal life when they were kids, blah blah blah. Like, got to do everything like a teenager would. Da 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 da. Then they're older and they get married. They convert for a man, and then they start thinking, oh wow, he treats me better than an American dude. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean,
Mm.
look, no, I mean, the problem is when they try, they're like the most hardcore in trying to get you in trouble. If they see you not wearing hijab or see you doing anything, they will like straight up go call your mom. I mean, I remember actually just recently I talked to N, you know who I'm talking about, right? And she told me a story
Yeah.
about when you know how religious she was when she was a kid. I mean, she started wearing hijab by herself. Nobody told her to do that. She was really dedicated to Islam, like by herself. And someone had said that she liked this boy, or maybe she said something like, "Oh, he was a very popular guy in school." This was before you came to school, so he
Mm-hmm.
was a really popular guy, and all the girls liked him because he was like this, just like we didn't have that many new kids, so he was really cute and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I think she said something like that, and this other girl went up to one of her mother's friends who happens to be a convert. Her mother is also a convert. But anyways, she went up to her and she said something like, "Oh, and likes Jay." Okay, so then she had that lady had the nerve to call N's mom and tell her, "Hey, your daughter is liking boys. She's like, she's promiscuous. She's this. She's that. She's that." And I mean, can you like? I mean, seriously, like now. N has children, she's married, blah blah, and she still remembers this, and this is like a distinct memory in her mind from, and it's crazy because it's like these things, like this convert lady try to ruin her life, actively ruin her life. She didn't know if her parents were abusive. She didn't know what they could have done to
Yeah,
her.
they could have beat
But
the shit out of her.
yeah, but the thing is, luckily she had a beautiful family that just like the most amazing. Like, I used to hang out with her. Like, she was like one of the only people I was allowed to hang out with before I even met you. And plus, my parents didn't like you, so so anyways. But she was the only one
Yeah.
that they liked because she had such a good image in the community and everything, and we were good friends or whatever. But I'm saying, like, imagine if I swear, like, I can imagine if somebody had told my stepdad that I even liked a boy or even thought about him or even talked to him, like, I would have been destroyed at that moment. I mean, that's why I'm very cautious of like converts, because they really don't know anything about Islam. It's not that they don't know, like they can learn the Quran, they can learn Arabic, they can learn all this stuff, but they don't have the experience. It's almost like that guy, that one guy
Yeah,
that's on
remember we were
YouTube.
talking about there's one thing about reading it, but there's a different thing. It's a totally different story. living it your whole life and experiencing it from when you're
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the convert experience is different unless you convert when you're very young, like a teenager or something, but and you manage to get your parents to convert, which why would anyone do that? But like if people convert like when they're older, and I will always say convert, revert sounds disgusting.
I know. Revert to what? What did you revert back to? We were nothing. We came from nothing. We had no ideas when we were children, and I refuse to believe that we were destined to all be like the exact
We
same
didn't
thing.
pop out saying the shahada, so whatever. Ain't no revert,
Yeah.
no such thing. But anyway, like, you convert as an adult, you're gonna have a completely different like experience. You're gonna see it as this new exotic thing than if you
Mm-hmm.
had lived your entire life like that, growing up like that as a child, starting fasting from like
Mm-hmm.
a younger age and knowing what it's like to fast, versus like, being a new convert, and like the first time
Yeah.
you fast is when you're already an adult and stuff, and just
Yeah.
just like all
Exactly.
the stuff, praying out of your own decision, and not because your parents are forcing you to pray and being on your back, breathing down your neck. Did you pray? Did you pray? Did you pray? Did you make you did And then
And
if
then
you
they
say
try
like, yeah, I
to
made
guilt
dohor,
trip
no, you
you.
didn't. You fucking lying. You didn't make dohor. Go make it. You didn't make it because I didn't see you. I made it in my room. No, you didn't. Okay. Well, you want me to make it again just to please you? Because this time I'm not praying to Allah at this point. I'm
I'm
basically praying to you, or
yes.
to Satan. Who knows?
I know because oh my god, don't even get me started with that Satan shit. But
Because
I was
if
gonna
you,
say,
the
what
first
about
time you
those two
made it for real,
converts?
like
You
fuck
know,
out of here.
we know like of two converts, and we've spoken to one convert that eventually became ex-Muslims or reverted back to being Christians or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Remember who? Like that one guy who has red hair. He's like this white dude.
Converted to Islam, and then he changed his YouTube channel name to "Don't Convert to Islam." And he came out with a video pretty recently. He's been
Yes,
doing them more.
like
He was off for like a year, and then he came back and did some more videos. So that's
wait,
pretty
wait, wait. God bless him for his, wisdom. But
poor
but
thing. I
he
think
had
he's
to.
Christian now, though. But it's all good. He's not
Yeah,
hurting anyone.
I mean, I mean,
This is the
like,
thing. Like, I don't care if I don't agree with like, oh, you being like, I don't have to be Christian to like respect. You want to be Christian? That's all good. Like, you're not hurting anyone. That's the point. See, as a Muslim, you have the potential to hurt someone, and like, I know they get salty and they don't like that. I'm not hurting anyone. Okay, like if you're genuinely not, that's good. But if you have a wife and children and you're dominating them and you're using this to control them, and you're pretending that you're just helping them and protecting them, like, you are potentially hurting someone. But whatever.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I completely agree. But yeah, I was gonna say, what's it called? So there's another one. Remember the one that we sometimes talk to?
Oh, who was
He
that?
also,
I don't know what. So is he a
and
YouTube personality?
no, he's not a YouTube personality. He's
The
someone
person
we've
that we know
spoken to,
personally,
not
who I'm
personally,
trying
but
to
we've talked
think.
to him on Hangouts
Oh, we've talked to him. Okay,
before.
somebody we talked to on
Rem-
Hangouts that was a convert and then went back.
and he's
I have
still
no
got
idea.
the Muslim beard, even though he's a
Oh,
he's a
you said M's.
yeah.
This name has like 4 names. So sorry. I said the word.
Abu something, Abu
I know, right?
Suhaib or some shit.
This that. Yeah, yeah. I'm here. Why'd you say M?
But
You
yeah,
don't give a
like
shit if we say his name.
okay, so Marcus, right?
Yeah,
Marquise, I don't know.
I
Anyways,
think it's
so
Marquis.
like it's great that it's like this. The reason why I bring these two people up is because yeah, they're converts, but they were so in the religion for like so long, and they learned Arabic, and they learned they learned
Yes.
everything, and then finally they were like, you know what? Fuck this shit. It doesn't make any sense. It's satanic.
This is the reason why I say knowledge and education are the enemy of Islam. And the reason is, look at these guys. They left the religion because they studied it so extensively.
Yes.
And they found things that they could not reconcile with, that they were like, I straight up don't agree with this. And you can't get around it. But people who just like, kind of convert, and then they don't really do too much research into it, and they just stay on the superficial level of like, yeah, Islam means peace. I'm not going to go find out what it actually means. I'm just going to listen to like, Linda Sarsour and the Muslim feminists and the media and the, sorry, I meant to say the left-wing liberal media
Lena Cockroach.
who put yeah, whatever. And I'm not gonna go out of my way to find out anything deeper. Then yeah, they're more likely to be in what we call blissful ignorance. Because when you actually do your research and find out more and go deeper and deeper, and you go to study in another country to learn Arabic and to memorize Quran all day and to read about the history of the life of Muhammad and the history of Islam and the world, like then they start to realize, they start to recognize, they start to open their eyes. They're like, okay, this happened? Holy shit, how come nobody knows about this? Okay, this is kind of, I mean, I know I converted and stuff, but my...
Oh, who's, you what, mate? He said Allah knows best.
He's funny.
Wrong, and then the hadith is showing these will be the signs of the end times. And then it states the Jews will attack first. Do you really not see how... Anyways, I'm not going to read everything.
Oh, he said that. Oh, wait, let me read the comment. No, I am Sunni. The hadith was about the end of times. Jews will side with the Dajjal, and when Jesus kills the Dajjal, his army will run and hide. So that is what the hadith is talking about. Are we still waiting for the Dajjal? There's some Muslims who believe that he came already. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you like a weed moment. Okay. Isn't it strange that Islam is the only religion that has mass animal sacrifice, which seems a little bit satanic to me? And then also, it's weird because I'm
the animal that they pick, though. Look at the animal they pick.
Yeah, it's a sheep. It's like almost a mockery of Christianity, isn't it?
Because the sheep.
But anyways, and the thing is, there's just so many satanic things, rituals, praying 5 times a day. That is fucking satanic.
I mean, it's definitely a ritual.
Dude, there's so many rituals.
Actually, there's more rituals. You can't even say just that. There's the ritual where you OCD, like tap the back of the knuckles of your fingers and count 33 times. It's funny that it's 33. Because you have to say,
interesting.
First of all, you're chanting. You're chanting Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, whatever things that you have to chant 3 times. You're chanting them 33 times each. Isn't it interesting that the Christians believe that Jesus was 33 when he died on the cross, and therefore all people in heaven will be 33, like they won't be the age they were? Isn't it interesting that it's the same number, 33? And the number 3, certain numbers held significance for Muhammad, I will say, not like, in Islam in general. No, Muhammad, because I don't care what anyone says, Muhammad invented Islam. Like, yes, he did. He was illiterate, yes, but he had a mouth and he knew words and he said those words and he had other people write them down. Like, what part do you know?
I mean, and who's to say he was truly illiterate? He could have possibly
maybe he was, maybe he wasn't.
Educated.
You can.
I mean, it's almost like a mockery. In the first verse, like the first surah, that's in the Quran, it says like Iqra. Like, read.
Iqra.
Like
Iqra, even though you can't Iqra.
Dude, it's almost like a mockery. It's almost like showing it in your face, like the angel was like,
yeah, but there was no angel.
I know you can read.
So he's trying to prove it's like, okay, this was the first thing he came out with. Somebody told me to read and I can't read. Oh, why is it such a big theme that we have to know that you can't read? Because it's supposed to be the proof that he couldn't possibly have written it. Well, no, he didn't write it because he dictated it to other people who wrote it down, and then they were like, there was a bunch of different versions. But even if he was illiterate, it doesn't make it impossible that he invented the Quran and that he invented Islam. And let me tell you why. Because it's like saying he's illiterate, therefore he was stupid. Like, you're insulting your own prophet. Like, maybe he was super smart and he just didn't know how to read.
Another blunt moment. Okay, so they say they promote education and everything, but why was their own prophet like illiterate and he couldn't read? Like, do they really promote education for men and women? Or, because think about it, like your example for life. If you want to be like the prophet, you can't
they promote
read.
Islamic. Don't learn how to read, so you gotta follow the sunnah. Fuck reading.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Boring.
No, but like, shit. What the fuck was I gonna say? You got me off guard with that. No, but like you said, oh, they promote education for both men and women, and sorry. Therefore, like, no, they don't promote education for both men and women. They promote Islamic education. There's a difference. If a woman
A
is
huge
getting taught
difference,
how
yeah.
to read, is she's getting taught how to read Arabic so she can read the Quran. That's it. That's all that when they say like, oh, teach your daughters how to read so she can read the fucking Quran. Like, don't joke around and pretend.
Why would you teach your daughters to read? You have to follow the example of the prophet and be illiterate your entire life, even though you have
Yeah.
scientists and philosophers
They want us to
as
talk
your
about
friends.
they want us to talk about what's it called, superstitions. I would go back to the thing about numerology because I truly believe that Muhammad had OCD. He definitely had OCD because we were saying about like rituals. Salah isn't the only ritual. There's so many rituals. Say du'as are rituals. There's
They
one that
sound
you
like
say.
spells. Can I say something really
Yeah,
like
because
just
the other thing about
you know ruqya?
mhm,
Ruqya, like it's this
I
thing
think it's
where
chanting.
they take yeah, it's like chanting, and it's and one time I used to listen to it to comfort me because I thought it,
Oh, no, I was saying dhikr
if
is
there's like
chanting.
anything. Oh, my bad. But anyways, it's still
Dhikr is the one
chanting
you
though.
chant 32 times, and then dua is like you say. There's a million of them, and you have a thing you
Yes,
say when you. It's what is it?
it's
It's
like
like an
making a wish.
incantation. It's an
Yes,
incantation. You
dude.
say it when you wake up.
Seriously,
You say it when you go to sleep. There's one you say before you go to the bathroom. There's one you say before you clean your house. There's one you say before you go outside. There's one you say before you go on a trip. There's one you say before you eat any food. There's shit. There's one for everything.
dude.
You're just chanting the whole day. You're just saying
Yeah,
incantations and
yeah.
chanting and praying and rituals. There's no time left in the day to have a social life, to go to work, go to school, do normal things, interact with your family, your wife and kids. You can't do shit because you're busy saying incantations and chanting all day and making prayers and extra prayers because
Yeah.
you don't just make your fard prayers. You gotta make the extra ones because you want to be closer.
Mm-hmm.
They call it the sunnah or whatever.
Yeah.
Gee,
Dude, I'm
he
gonna
was
tell you about the
he was
ruqya
obsessed with
though.
numbers too. Go ahead,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
tell you. So the ruqya has like, for example, oh, get the evil eye out of your house or whatever, like people or like shaitan or some or like jinns or whatever. And I used to listen to it because I sometimes I would be like scared or something, and I would listen to it like almost like a lullaby. I would put it on and feel comfortable. It's and feel like, oh, I can sleep now. Like nothing is gonna hurt me. But then one time I woke up and then I heard what it was saying, and it was like, God damn the Kafirs and may they burn in hell, and it said it like 5 times, and I was like, am I really listening? How is this comforting in any way? Like this sounds like a legit spell. Like how there's affirmations, and I feel like, what if how the human mind is so powerful that when we thought, like you can look back like in an old cartoon or whatever, and whatever they had in that cartoon is like real life now. Like um they'll have like cell phones and whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
So it's like the human mind
futuristic
is so
movies.
powerful. So if you're listening to this and it's going into your subconscious, or you're, even if you don't understand it, maybe your mind can understand it. Like who knows? Like who the fuck knows? I don't know. But anyways, you're still like taking all of these messages in, and it's almost like if you start reciting the Quran and doing the same thing, and maybe you're gonna learn how to say it on your own instead of listening to ruqya by yourself. I mean, there's people who learn ruqya and do it to other people for exorcism or whatever. So what
Mhm.
if all of this is like a collective of like negative thoughts, and eventually this is why we have all these wars and stuff. I mean, this is just like a blunt moment, you know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking about it like, oh, what if if you believe in affirmations or believe that your mind can attract things to you. So that's what I was thinking. Like if you're listening to this all the time and you don't even know what it means, but you're still projecting it into like the world, I guess, in your mind or whatever. And I feel like it's a form of brainwashing in a way, because it's like even if you don't
Ooh,
understand it.
introverted smiles just texted me.
Oh, did he? Oh,
I'm
that's
about to get
nice.
those digits. Like, that was funny.
I
Yo, that was
swear, like I feel
awesome.
like Muhammad was a genius, and
Yeah.
he
Remember
he,
that
he even had
Egyptian
philosophers as friends.
doctor who was on the fucking show with that annoying bitch? Um and she said I don't think there was an angel Gabriel. I think that Muhammad invented the Quran. He made it up. She said, I think he was a genius. He was a cunning genius or whatever. And then
Yeah.
the lady cut her off and kicked her out the show. I was like, I really, really wish. I even looked after that. I even looked for another clip of her speaking because I really wanted to know what she had to say.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could hear, like, if that bitch hadn't kicked her out, like,
You're
hear
talking.
the rest of the
You're talking about Dr. Noha
Doctora
or whatever her
Noha.
name is.
Yeah. I know, because she said I believe Muhammad was a genius or whatever. And it's like people don't understand psychology, like we've been talking this whole time. So they don't understand how a person can be a genius but also have psychological disorders. Because it's like,
I mean, Einstein had an issue when he
such
was a
person
kid, didn't
is
he?
crazy. Yeah. They just lump everyone in under crazy. Well, he couldn't have been crazy. There's no evidence of him being crazy. No, he had a psychological disorder and a personality disorder. He possibly had multiple personality, not multiple personality, but like more than one personality disorder,
Yeah.
because of the way he acted and the way. Oh my God! Earlier in the thing, we were talking about how people have like one thing that they show, a persona they show to everyone of being so nice and gentle and kind and cool, and then like their
Mm-hmm.
real personality, the way they are in real life. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but anyone who knows their shit would see.
I mean,
Anyway,
I truly believe that originally his taste in women was to be with older women or women his own age, but then eventually when people kept pressuring him, you're the prophet, you're like a king. It's like it went to his head and he was like, how do I prove that um I got a virgin or whatever? Let me get the youngest girl. Even, and I hate when people say, well, back in the day it used to be like this, but even Abu Bakr,
it was normal. It wasn't normal. Exactly. There was
he said this.
many what is it, hadiths of Abu Bakr being like, I kind of don't want you to marry my daughter. Like, she's already engaged to someone else and everything. Like, come on, you're gonna make me break the engagement just because. Hey, and then they bullshit too, because they're like, oh, he recognized her intelligence at 6. No, because there's another one that says he recognized her beauty at 6. So which one is it? Stop fucking bullshitting. Um, or recognized her potential beauty. Like, he didn't even, man. But I will say
Oh,
that they,
God is
back to what you said about him
Allah is
proving
considered
that he had a virgin,
the
because
greatest
he could
deceiver.
have. Oh, they could have. Look, he could have gotten with a 15-year-old, but they would have been like, yeah, I mean, but she's still kind of old. Like, she could have already fucked someone before she got with you. But then he's like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna like get the youngest possible person to prove, like, without a doubt she was definitely a virgin, and it backfired because they were like, okay, that's too young, god damn it. But there's a well-known story about how when he first his first wife Khadija, she was older than him and she was a widower, right? So she had
Mm-hmm.
already, yeah, I mean, it's well known that she was not a virgin. Like, she already fucked before she got with him. And then, like, after he married her for his first wife, he lost his virginity to her. And then his buddies or whoever they were like, oh man, why'd you fuck that old bitch? You could have gotten a virgin. You missed out. You could have got you a tight new thing. And they were like, obviously it really stuck with him and bothered him
Mm-hmm.
because he told this story later on, and
Mm-hmm.
for us to still know it way later. Clearly that bothered him or something, because they, it was probably more than just that one instance where they were like, damn, like,
Yes,
you
he
shouldn't
did
you should have got
arrange
a
for her to
virgin. You
marry
should have got a
someone
virgin.
before. I'm like replying to this comment. He said he had arranged for her to marry someone else before Muhammad. Yeah, like he did. Because the thing is, the kid that they engaged her to was, I mean, he was a kid,
Yeah, he
and
was
they were gonna wait
underage.
until they were like probably 15, 16 to get them married. So that was, I would say that's more acceptable. Like, at least they found someone around the same age as her. It wasn't like, maybe he was like 2 years old when she was like born. You know what I mean? But still, he was still around the same age as her. Not like, oh my God, like this dude who's like almost the same age, or probably older than her own father. I don't know if he was older than her father or
Yeah,
younger, but either
exactly.
way, they were
I
the
mean, I
same
always
age
say
group.
this, and I love to bring this up because Muslims will be like, look, even though she was 9, when he consummated and took her virginity, it wasn't rape, it was marriage. Well, if it wasn't rape, that means it has to be consensual. And the only way it can be consensual is if she was attracted to him. So you're telling me that 9-year-old Aisha was attracted to 54-year-old Muhammad. So you're telling me that 9-year-old Aisha, 9-year-old little girl Aisha, was sexually attracted to old men. She had an old man fetish. Done. Like, that's it. Like, you're telling me she's supposed to be the mother of Islam, the innocent, like, you know, the pure image, like you're supposed to want to be like her and emulate her, but she liked old dudes though. She liked that old 50-year-old dick. Sorry.
You know what's crazy? That parents in the Muslim world, they fear their daughter getting fucked, but yet they arrange for her to get married and get fucked at a really young age, like 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever. Still, I mean, normally I feel like a girl wouldn't even think about it at that time. And yes, there are cases where there's girls who have sex really young, but it's kind of proven that majority of them have been molested or touched at some point. So I feel like it's not natural for a kid to want to have sex so early, like 13 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, to be but here's the thing, because this, with this whole like new wave of like pro pedophilia YouTubers and stuff, and they're all, their excuse is like, oh, kids naturally are curious about sex and stuff. But here's the catch: even if a little kid is curious about sex or exploring their own body, as an adult, you have no business there. Like, they're curious about sex and like not even like intercourse, but just like sexual things with people their own age. Like, they're curious about their own body, and like they're not attracted to freaking old ass people. Like, how you get
Yeah.
attracted to your age group naturally? Yeah, you're supposed to be attracted to your age group. Okay, so when you're a kid, you like other kids. When you're a teenager, you like other teenagers. When you're an adult, you like other adults. When you're middle-aged, you kind of like other middle-aged people. Like, yeah, there's some exceptions. Maybe if you're like a middle-aged dude having a midlife crisis, you're gonna like kind of want to date a 20-year-old or whatever, just to feel young again or whatever. That's fine. But
Oh,
seriously, a little kid is gonna shut up. I know what
I
you're gonna.
just no. I was gonna read this thing. He said the Shia have great evidence to prove Aisha didn't believe in Allah. Can you please
Oh,
give us some of that proof? Because that's
yeah, link
really,
it.
really, really interesting.
She didn't believe in all that shit. So why the fuck would she? I mean, I said before that if you read the Aisha hadiths, you know, it's like she has things hidden in there. You got to read between the lines, because she said like, hey, Allah sure caters to your every whim, Muhammad. Like, every time you have a single thing that you voice desire or something, immediately you get a verse revealed from the heavens. That's convenient, right? She would say that, what did she say? She
Oh,
said life will be the
yeah.
hardest for us believing women. Like, the believing women will have it the hardest in life. Why would she say that if Muslim women supposedly have it so good? I'm sorry, but she was basically sold into slavery at a very young age. That's what that would be called if it was today, and still might as well be called that shit.
Yeah.
Counting it from back then, because they want to use the back then excuse. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I don't give a
I
shit.
mean, back in the day, Islam, even now, like they don't care about slavery. Like, oh, if he believes and you
That's
like him,
basically
you can
you open
release
up a
him.
can of worms when you say back then it was okay, but it's not anymore. So back then, let me tell you all the things that were okay, but they're not anymore. Wearing hijab, telling people they
Yeah.
can't drink alcohol, basically stopping anyone from doing anything they want, being Muslim. Like, it's just that was what you did back in the day. Like, it doesn't really apply anymore, so it's all good.
It's crazy that the first believers were still able to drink alcohol up until the point where Muhammad died.
Yeah, I
So
remember that shit. That was so stupid, because I'm like, oh, that opens up another can of worms. It's like loopholes. I mean, they got the Sahaba, right? They got all these concessions and things that they were were allowed to do, basically. Yeah. How did
the
we get
first
on this?
believe.
I thought
Oh,
we were going to talk about superstitions and jinn and
I
incantations
think
and
I read some. I read
oh, you
some.
were reading the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
mean,
I'm
honestly, like, the worst thing about this whole story is that Muhammad not only stole her childhood, but he even stole her future because, like, when he said, he told them that, let nobody marry the women, like my wives, like after he's
Oh my
dead.
God. Yeah, that's the worst. I'm sorry, but people say a lot of things. Like, oh, the thing that I don't like about Islam is this, or the thing I don't like about Islam is that, slavery is allowed. I'm like, this is a huge thing. Why does anyone never bring this up? I mean, that was
Yeah,
unforgivable. That is evil. That
evil,
not
evil, evil
just
as fuck.
Aisha, all of his wives were not allowed to remarry. They were never allowed to have physical pleasure ever again. They were never allowed to, to be in love, to have a romantic partner, to have intimacy, to have like companionship. I mean,
I mean,
he
we would have
he
been at least
forbid
happy that
them
she had a
for the
chance,
rest of their
that
life.
she
I
at least
know,
had
and
a
she was
chance to
18. Her whole life, he basically forced her to be a nun. Like, you're, you know, all of them, you guys are celibate. You're forced to
yeah.
celibacy. You have no choice. I'm sorry. How
And
can
can I say another
anyone
thing?
defend a man that would do such a thing to a
Dude,
woman and say he gave women equal rights for the fuck out of here?
and the worst part is he said that, marry, like, if a woman becomes a widow, like, it's good to marry her, blah 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 blah.
Right? But then
Okay,
my
well, they
widows,
became,
fuck out of here.
they became widows. Like, he didn't. And the thing is, I think it's
Yeah,
because
but
he
like,
wanted
why?
to
It was
feel.
okay. Oh, it was okay because he left behind an empire and he left enough money for them to live for the rest of their life. Newsflash: people don't get married just for money. You sicko.
And
It's
how was one man able to satisfy all those women? I mean, I'm sure some of
bullshit.
them wanted to
I
get,
think I think
I'm
he
sure
generally
some
did
of
have
them
a
liked
thing.
him.
It said, oh, he bragged that he could go to all of them in one night and still have enough energy. Sweetie, no,
No,
you
you can't. You can
no,
only
you
come 3 times, homie.
three. You're being generous. Three in a night. Get the fuck out of here. If the only
And
way,
by the time it's the third,
that's
it's like
straight
really
bullshit.
difficult.
That is, if that's a verified hadith, then he was straight up lying to whoever he told that to. I could go to all my wives in one night. Oh, I'm done. Wait. Yo, this is taking forever. I'm still replying to what's his name.
You know what I really, 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 really hope. I really hope that women, that Muslim hijabi, whatever the fuck,
Hmm.
people stop calling themselves feminists. Like, get the
Oh
fuck out
my
my face,
god.
you
Oh
privileged
my god.
Western, like, Muslim ass bitch.
Western, born in the U.S., lenient parents, ass bitch.
The
Okay,
thing is, a
speak for
lot of these
yourself. Like,
hijabi Muslim, whatever, like, feminists, whatever, hijabsters, all of these
chapsters.
hijabsters, yes, all of these fucking hijabsters, they
Feminist.
legit, like, they
I'm
choose
the
to
real
wear it. It's not
feminist.
like
Get out of here.
no one is
Exactly. Oh
telling
my
them.
god. Talking about
I'm gonna
hijab
tell
is a
you a
choice.
story.
Maybe it's a choice for you. You can't, like,
Remember
nobody's
that
forcing
girl?
you. Congratulations. Good for you. Bunch of
Remember
people
that
are getting
girl that
for.
came to the
Mm.
Islamic school way after, and she went to public school and she had like dreads and stuff, and like, oh, a cultural appropriation, bitch. Okay, anyways, um, so this chick came to the school and she was really into it. She was like in her Muslim phase, and I had
Hmm.
complaint. I didn't even complain. We were in like a group, and they asked me a question. I said my opinion. I think I said something like, "Oh, I really don't like this school." Like, they said, they asked me. I'm not gonna be fake. Anyway, so this girl goes and she's like, why don't you like it? It's great. This is an Islam school. You should be happy to be here. Bitch, I'm like, yo,
You just
you
got here,
have
ho.
dreads and you can do whatever you want, and
Hmm.
you can show your hair or whatever. Anyways, I knew from the very moment that I met her that I wasn't gonna get along with her. But then she went out of her way to like make me seem like an evil bitch or something in the Islamic school. And she even in the next year she left that school, and there was next year, I think it was like ninth grade or 10, no, it was 10th grade. Anyway,
Hmm.
so that girl, like, her mom was such a fucking bitch. Like, I was extra polite to her mother because I knew that she had told her mother something about me. And my stepdad wasn't taking me to school like every single day. He was like really having, he would rather go out all night and not, take me to school, whatever. Anyways, so then he would take me to school late, and then this lady came up to me and started like yelling at me, like she was the secretary, her mom. And so she started yelling at me, talking about, oh, you're probably in the bathroom, you're not trying to go to class. I'm like, what the fuck do I get from that? What the fuck do I get from that, from not going to class and staying in the bathroom? What the fuck am I going to win from that? Anyway, so then I was polite to her, and I actually talked to her, and I said, why are you yelling at me? And she was like, and she was caught off guard because I was talking super, like, you know, like calm as fuck. And then,
like your voice was
yeah,
down.
yeah, like I was like, you're an adult. I'm a child, like not child, but I'm a teenager. I cannot tell my stepdad. I cannot force him to bring me here. You should, if you have any complaints, please have a talk with my stepdad, because he's the one who controls everything. There's no bus. No one's gonna bring me here except him, and you know, normally it would be the parent's responsibility. If there's no bus, there's nothing. I live very far away. I can't come here on my, like, yeah, I can't just walk here. I'm not even allowed to go outside, let alone walk to a fucking school that I don't even know where it is, because honestly I've only been driven there. So then she was like looking at me and stuff like that, and then she goes and she's like, put your hair in your hijab, like put it back, like. And I said,
Yeah,
look,
I remember that.
yeah, and I told her, like, look, when I get out of this school, I straight up told her, like, when I get out, like, I'm never gonna wear this. It's not that important to me. If one of my little hairs comes out, that means nothing to me. Like, I don't give a fuck. I didn't say it like that, but you know, I was being polite to her. And I remember you know, that guy's that girl's dad. He was like, he's really stern and stuff, and he was watching me, but I was like being so polite. And I told her, like, I like at the very end I said, look, I have done all I can to be respectful of you. I have never been rude or anything like that towards you, but I can see that you have a personal bias. And then I told her, before you talk to me about my hijab or why I'm late, please see what your daughters are doing. I told her, you came here
Oh,
last year,
snap.
you didn't. Yeah, like I told her, like, you came here last year, your daughters were not wearing hijab. Some of them don't wear hijab, and you recently started wearing hijab, and your daughter recently started wearing hijab. What's your excuse? You're Palestinian. You're a Muslim from birth. So don't ever fucking talk to me. So that was like my cool moment in life, you know, like in school. I was like, bitch, I'm gonna talk to you like a responsible adult. I'm gonna make you feel like shit.
That's condescending as well. That's beautiful.
Yeah, like, I mean, I still remember that because I knew that her daughter had talked shit about me.
Thug life. That's like, you got the theme music and the sunglasses.
Yeah,
and the
like,
blunt.
I mean, but like, you know, when it was like a thing that I was trying to prove. Like, I knew her daughter was talking shit, and I felt like she couldn't understand me because she never lived the life that I did. She had like privilege. And then on top of that, like, I tried to be like very polite to her mom, who was the secretary at the time, the second secretary aside from the other ones. Plus, at that point, by the time I was in that grade, I was already talking to everyone like that, like calmly. Like, I was like, you know, I remember one time I went to the computer lab, and there was this girl. She had a bad impression of me, and I never talked to her before. You know who I'm talking about, that Pakistani girl. And she was like, get out of here, you're interrupting our class. And I looked at her and I said, I'm older than you, and I don't feel like arguing with you, but why do you feel the need to yell at me? Like, I was like such an asshole. Like, you know, when I get calm and I'm just like, let me be reasonable here. I'm not gonna yell at you, but why do you feel the need to yell at me? And I told her, like, I'm here because the teacher told me to come here and make copies. But if you feel that, you know, that's annoying you, I'll leave right after I get my copies, and you won't have to hear from me again. And then she became my friend after, and she like respected me. Like,
yeah, but I think
seriously.
we should have another different show, like about.
Oh shit, my thing is dying. I need to put it on a charger.
Okay. Yeah,
no, I got
about like Islamic schools in general, and then also.
Oh, for sure.
And then we're gonna have a couple shows. We'll plan it out, and I'll text you and I'll tell you later.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I got a couple ideas in the works. We're gonna do this, but
Yeah.
actually, I think we should call it a day because it's getting kind of long.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it was really fun, and I'm like low key kind of sleepy. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's later for you, but it's nice. But anyway, just gonna say thanks to all the people still on and listening to us ramble way after. It was lovely. It was beautiful. Stay golden. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Peace. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too. Mwah.
Oh.